Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive. Nothing in sight, forever in flight. Follow those lines, we'll make it this time. Blurry street lights, work as a guide to memories that we're making tonight. Oh yeah, we'll make it tonight. Yeah. I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do. I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove. No end in sight, just always staying on the move. I'll go all night if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can't afford. Memories are in what you explore, so just don't be ignored. Go ask for more, go ask for more. Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I wanna visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? I'm in a race that everybody's chasing fast. They wanna be that someone on the screen at last. They ain't looking inside for their needs in life. They wanna be liked by everybody in sight. But trust me, being free ain't spotlights. No, it's long nights and it's long fights with yourself all the time to get your mind right. But if you put in the work, you can find the light, alright? I'll do anything that I feel like I wanna do. I'm living life like I got nothing left to prove. No end in sight, just always staying on the move. I'll go all night if that's just what I gotta do. Life's too short to care about what you can't afford. Memories are in what you explore, so just don't be ignored. Go ask for more, go ask for more.
And a warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Merry Christmas with the H-Cast. We're at episode 89, folks. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all having a fantastic day, wherever you are in the world. Side note, let me know where you are in the world. Very curious to hear where you're all tuning in from. And thank you so much for joining me on, us on this Thursday. You could be anywhere, but you're choosing to hang out with us here on your favorite podcast. So I do appreciate it. It is, yes, a Christmas themed H-Cast. It's the closest we're going to be before Christmas. So we've got to get the Christmas themed stream here. We do have some topics to cover though, of course, but you know, in a festive format, I guess. And I didn't want to put them into the title to kind of ruin that for you guys. Just thought we'd keep it Merry Christmas, Christmas with the H-Cast, and then we'll crack on with all of our normal topics here and there. So, what topics have we got? Aquaman and the Lost Turd. The reviews are in. We've actually got someone on the panel today who's seen it, so we're going to get a live review. We've got talk of South Park. We're going to talk about some of the South Park because that was absolute comedy gold and hilarious. We've got studios bitching and moaning about tax, even though they get lots of tax breaks. It's a fun time, ladies and gents. It's a fun time, but it's a festive time. It's a festive time. So before we get started, a few sort of housekeeping rules. You want to join in the show? Best way to do that is the super chats. We will stop intermittently throughout the show and we will read your super chats. It can be about anything. It can be you joining in the conversation about what we're talking about. Terrible English there, but it could be to do with anything you wish. You could literally anything you want to say, basically. Super chat's the way to do it. We get heavy demonetization here on the H-Cast, so fan funding is massive. On that topic, please do become a member. You've also just had some memberships gifted as well. So those that grabbed them, kudos. Awesome. We'll thank that chap in a minute. Second channel, link down below in the description box. Please do check that out. It's where all the clips and the best bits of this stream goes. So please do hit subscribe there. But joining me on this very festive Hcast is actually another person who's just dropped in. I've sent out loads of invites today. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We've got Culture Casino.
Hey, everybody. Happy holidays. I hope you will enjoy a wonderful weekend. And the following weekend, we try to be here for you. So I imagine you'll be seeing us regardless of the wonderful holidays. Thanks for joining us today. And don't forget to tip the bartender here. He does a great job. And I'm excited for today's show.
There you go. You can find Culture Casino at Culture Casino on YouTube as well as Twitter. Andre, where are you? Introduce yourself.
Greetings, everyone. I'm one half of Midnight's Edge that's here right now, and I am the privileged one who has seen Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Have not seen Godzilla, but hey, you take what you can, I guess.
We're also joined just in the nick of time by Chris. Introduce yourself, chap, and where people can find you.
Hey everybody, Chris Brawley with Bleeding Fool, and just honored to be hanging out with these luminaries of geek culture and entertainment. Thanks, Nate.
And Bleeding Fool, I might not be linked down below. I will try and link it down below in a minute. Please do check out that website. Fantastic articles. We'll get Chris to sort of introduce that a little bit more later on. Tom, just jumping in here real quick. Who are you? And promote your bits and bobs, dude. Not your literal bits and bobs.
I'm still trying to find myself. So when I do, I'll let you know who I am.
Okay. You can find him on
Tom
Midnight's
Connors,
Edge.
Midnight's Edge After Dark. Yeah.
There you go. Midnight's Edge After Dark is linked down below. Please do hit subscribe down there. You will no doubt enjoy everyone's input on here. So please do check out their channels. And we've got Nick, last but not least, although you weren't last but not least. I'm not sure why you're there on the order, or maybe it's done it in a different fashion. Who are you? Where are you from?
I'm one half of Echo Base Network, previous Star Wars channel, or mainly Star Wars channel. We've now moved to other things because Disney Star Wars sucks. And we got our weekly live stream tonight at 7:00 Central Time.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Epic. Good times. Good times. Chris, do you want to just explain what Bleeding Fool is?
Yeah.
We are the, I guess, the alternative to our similarly sounding predecessors from your side of the pond, Nate.
Don't lump him in with me, all right?
I'll
boot you off my podcast.
Listen, we've got our bad eggs here as well, so don't take that the wrong way. But we just present a lot of it is sort of the failures of entertainment medium, Hollywood, and what's been going on with DEI and SJWs and non-player characters and so on. But we also like to promote some of the things that we think are good. I guess in that respect, we're not much different than the far left websites out there. But I think the difference between us and them is we don't gaslight the readers. Something is genuinely terrible, we'll tell you, and rather than shill for it. So we're not shills, and we're just a modest little blog doing our thing and enjoying in the shadows of people like Midnight's Edge and Mr. H Reviews that are out there all the time putting this stuff up for us. And it's like, oh dang, did you see what Midnight's Edge said? We need to do a story on that right away, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, you are also far better journalists than some of your similar sounding websites and others of that ilk on both sides of the pond.
Thank you.
I'd say actual journalists. I think that's the key there, isn't it, really?
Indeed. In actual journalists as opposed to journalists.
So we've only got you for a relatively short period of time, haven't we, Chris?
That's right.
Perfect. Well, let's get your thoughts. Real quick, actually, before we get started. So memberships, great way, like I said, to support the channel. And we've got Adam Healy here, has been a member for 32 months. We salute you, good sir. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. And you can actually get a free monthly super chat when you become a member as well. But Space Jettison has gifted 5 memberships to the channel. So thank you so much. We salute you, good sir. That is incredible. Genuinely, thank you so much. And kudos to anyone who so the 5 people that grabbed one of those memberships. That's awesome. Olaf Van S just creeping in here at the last minute. Yeah, I saw you. You're late. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope you all have some great day. And Olaf is our moderator here on the HCast. He's a great dude. You'll see him in loads of streams, but he obviously helps us out here as well. And he's a really fantastic wrench. So kudos to Olaf. Thank you so much. Israel R drops in $5 and says, Merry Christmas and happy holidays, Mr. HM panel. May your Christmas be restful and peaceful and jolly. Well, thank you so much. So just as a quick one, I'm trying to think, what have we got here? So we're Thursday now, and then Christmas falls on Monday, doesn't it? So Boxing Day is when that's what we call it in the UK. Don't know if it's called that
Day
anywhere
after
else.
Christmas, yeah.
So the day after Christmas is Tuesday again. From speaking to the panel and things like that, we should be okay to at least get the show ready to go again on Tuesday. So just to let anyone know, if anyone's thinking, oh, is it going to wind down? Is it slowing down? No, it should all just be moving ahead as normal. So expect this to continue as normal next week, basically, and there may be an impromptu stream here or there, dependent on how I feel on Christmas Day. There might be something late in the evening if I'm a little bit drunk and having a good time. So that might be fun. But just to let you know, obviously this is the Christmas stream with the HCast because we're pre-Christmas, and then we're going to be after Christmas Tuesday when it's running again. But because we've only got you for a short period of time, and I know Tom is just itching to talk about it, we got to move on to our first topic. This is an industry shaker.
I fucking knew it.
Well, you knew it. You take it away then, Tom. What's happened?
Wow.
What's going
just
on?
First of all, culture, I think, owes me an apology or two. No, I'm just kidding. This is something that I was starting to hear about this last week. I was hearing about it more from the CBS side of things, but basically I'd been hearing that Warner Brothers was hovering around, very interested in the sports. And I said this deal would make a lot of sense, for a lot of reasons. And it's one of the few that might actually squeak by. We'll have to see, but I'm really curious what everybody else thinks.
So what
it was kind of rumors
is
swirling, and then Zaslav basically kind of confirmed it.
Well, let's just clarify for anyone who's just walking in this and they don't know anything. Warner Brothers and Paramount might be merging. Both companies are in pretty serious debt. Warner Brothers Discovery, because I have no idea why, multiple bombs perhaps, and issues. Paramount, lots and lots of black hole cash going into their streaming service, as well as their primary controlling shareholder looking to sell up, essentially.
And I actually was told that they're not in as bad a financial shape as all these analysts and stuff are trying to present them as. See, that's what I was told.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Warner Brothers.
Warner. Paramount, on the other hand, is a different discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think the reason why Paramount is looking to sell up or even remotely interested in this is because of that primary controlling shareholder looking to sell up, essentially, isn't it? I do think Warner Brothers is kind of, I don't necessarily think they're as bad off as, what loads of people are making out, but then they're certainly not massively well off. They've done really well on trying to generate some free cash flow. But they're still in, a substantial amount of debt, aren't they? That was pretty much clarified previously. So what's happened now? The Deadline article here is saying, look, it's preliminary, right? David Zaslav, obviously CEO, boss of Warner Brothers Discovery, and Paramount Global CEO Bob Bakish sat down for a meeting. It was all rather preliminary, the sources said. If it's coming to the media, it's not preliminary. That's past preliminary at that point. And I would argue, and I'm sure you guys, I want you to chime in, so please do in a minute. But I would argue that this has been put to the media to see actually what the stocks do, how they respond to this notion, right? Of whether this merger going ahead helps boost their share prices. That's what I would argue. I don't know what you guys think about that. I mean, it's certainly not preliminary if it's put to the media. Andre?
I agree 100% with that assessment. This is not a leak. This is being released. These are not rumors. These are talks. There's an intention here. Now, of course, when there's talks, that means it can still go either direction. It means that it still has to go through a bunch of approvals before this thing can actually happen. But what I think is going on here, as Tom said, Warner really isn't in that bad a shape. Paramount, that's a different story. Remember with Paramount, just a couple of years ago, Paramount was two corporations. It was Paramount under the old Viacom, and it was CBS, which both of them have now been merged together into Paramount. That was a remerger that looked good for a while there, but it has failed. We can say this now because this new merged corporation, consisting of the old Paramount, or rather the previous Paramount and the previous CBS, right now is worth about the same as one of them before. So that's basically half the value has been wiped out since the merger happened. This is why they are in such deep trouble, or part of the reason. The reason that the value has gone down is basically everything has gone to hell because they have a big management problem. And I think, this is just me speculating, I think that Paramount, they need someone to come and buy them. Warner doesn't need anyone to buy them. But David Zaslav, he's known for picking up underperforming companies, fixing them, and flipping them. That is what he is in the process of doing with Warner right now. I think that what he sees is that, you know what? While I'm still working with Warner, this Paramount here, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I'm going to try to seize it and fix them too. This isn't so much a merger, or this is a merger in the same way that Warner and Discovery was a merger, which really was Discovery taking over Warner. That's the kind of merger that was. And I think that's the exact thing going on here, that this is a case of now Zaslav, he has another company in his targets. We're going to call it a merger, but in reality, it's a takeover. This is Zaslav taking over Paramount as well, fighting everyone, fixing it, and then a few years down the line, flipping it. Then he'll have two companies to flip, Warner and Paramount. Now, of course, he still has to fix Warner. He hasn't done that yet. I mean, he has done much, but like, for instance, his big problem right now is the DC universe. That was supposed to be their big cash cow, but right now it is the biggest anchor on the corporation there is. So very much is going to depend on if James Gunn is able to turn this around. If he can do that, then you can consider Warner saved.
Well, I want
same thing with Paramount, but I think that's what's going on here.
Yeah. Well, I want to get your take next, Chris, because of course we've got to let you live for a relatively limited time. I think what's your thoughts?
You and Tom and Andre are on point. I think Warner is also bracing for their final, what they hope will be one of their final flop busters coming out this weekend with Aquaman 2. There's no telling how much money they sank into it. And I know that the embargo on reviews isn't until the movie releases. So that tells me that they kept Amber Heard fully up front in the movie.
That embargo lifts right about now, I think.
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah. So we should know. But I think this has all been factored in. I think, with the bold decision to shelve Batgirl earlier this year, and the way that they've kept DC Comics sort of at bay, and they've tried a lot of things. I don't think they were expecting Black Adam to do as poorly as it did, but it feels like they've sort of
Black Adam's earned the most this year.
That's the only one they've had that's been semi a hit. Yeah, and I would
Yeah.
It's actually earned the most. It earned the most this year.
The Flash, I would argue, is even the bigger flop. You know, you got Michael Keaton coming back as Batman. You know, and
So
it does
funny.
nothing. No,
I'm not sure what they were thinking there, though, because to me that would have been the movie to also shelve. So they've got to get the albatross or the millstone that is the DCEU off the board, put it in the rearview mirror. They'll do that with Aquaman. They're sort of set. You know, it's sort of on them next year. I think the big problem for the movie industry going forward is they're already predicting it to be under 8 billion next year, which would, you know, and they're blaming it still. They keep on using post-pandemic and so on. But let's be honest, if Disney could still do billion-dollar movies, this wouldn't be an issue. But most of the suppression, I think, for the big blockbusters has been Disney, and Warner Brothers is, you know, they're way behind Disney as far as those numbers. So I think that this is a good decision. Paramount probably needs it. I'm curious how tied to Disney Paramount still sort of is, because the release on Indiana Jones was always a little bit strange to me. I couldn't figure out why Disney and Marvel Comics didn't reprint their Indiana Jones comics. They didn't reprint an omnibus edition of the old John Byrne Indiana Jones comics. They didn't even announce it or even do a new comic. So I think with these deals, there's a lot of untangling that has to take place. But I think Andre is correct. These talks are ongoing. They're looking, just like you said, Nate, to see what the market does, to see sort of what the industry's response to this news is. And I think it'll be positive.
It actually dipped. So the
stocks dipped for Warner or Paramount?
Both. So the immediate reaction wasn't particularly great. Warner's stock
I'm not surprised.
by 6%, and then Paramount slid by 2%, and then even further. I don't know what that's up, where it's
this
up.
This is what I alluded to. The problem here is that Zaslav hasn't fixed Warner yet.
Yeah.
Warner, while in not nearly a bad shape as Paramount, they are not in a good shape. And what Warner and what the market sees here, I think that they see here is Zaslav trying to bite over more than he can chew. If he had successfully flipped Warner already, if he had fixed the company, it would be a completely different matter. But is something going on with Warner right now? Do they have like a very big, expensive movie coming out this weekend that's going to flop tremendously?
That's true.
Do we have a situation like that? Mayhaps this is like bad news for or bad timing for Warner. And I said that's exactly what I mean, right? The success right now, the way that Hollywood is structured, the success of Warner is the success of DC. The success of DC right now is a potential, but it is a potential that has not been realized. Before it can be realized, they have to get all of the past shit out of the way. And the last of that past shit is being released right now, this weekend. So this was not great timing to release these kind of news, because Warner are about to receive a black eye. So that's why the market is reacting the way that they do.
Yeah, that makes sense. I want to get your thoughts here, Nick. What do you think about this deal?
Well, we hit on this yesterday when it dropped, and one of the things I was curious about is something you mentioned was the stock. But as you mentioned, you know, with this news dropping, Paramount stock is down a little over 3% today. Warner Brothers is down almost 3% today. You know, since this news dropped, so it's not really, you know, this news coming out hasn't helped their stock at all. And just like Andre was saying, Zaslav has not flipped Warner Brothers yet. You know, DCEU is still in a sad state. That's got to be turned around and fixed. The whole company over at Warner Brothers has a lot of work to do to turn it around. And then, you know, if they take on Paramount, you know, you got Star Trek, which is in a terrible state. hopefully that could get turned
That's
around.
a
I'd
whole
love to
different
see-
set of things I've been hearing about. But go ahead. Sorry, Nick.
But yeah, I would love to see that get turned around. I would love to see him for this deal to actually happen. I think it's good for both companies. One question I had, when I saw this, and Tom or Andre, or one of you other guys on the panel might have an answer for this, is who's going to be, if this merger happens, who's going to be over, everything? Is it
Probably Zaslav, I'd imagine.
Zaslav, definitely Zaslav.
Yeah.
Now, let's put it this way: the mismanaged company here is Paramount.
Yes.
Oh yeah, for
Paramount
sure.
is one of the most No, it's not one of. It is the most mismanaged
Yes.
company in Hollywood
Be
right
part of
now,
the deal.
bar none.
So
That's
all
where
the,
I wanted to.
Yeah,
so all the execs at Paramount will be
all of them.
pretty much out of a job
Yes.
Yeah.
once this merger.
And
Okay.
and
Well, and
rightfully
that's the
so.
thing that bothers
Well.
me is how people are like, look, I'm not saying David Zaslav's perfect,
No.
but motherfuckers have not let him have a chance to even do anything yet. As far as I know, Wonka is the first movie that's coming out that he had anything to do with. Like, you got to remember, in between him taking over, there's been, how many strikes and shit.
Yeah.
Like, we're just finally getting Aqua Turd out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wonka is
yeah, no, you are
freaking
right.
good
You
movie.
are right. Yeah.
With
Yeah,
So I
Michael
mean,
does
let's see
spring
what
cleaning.
happens here
Yeah.
with him. But yeah, you guys are right. Like
Yeah.
Paramount, on the other hand, they couldn't get a hit if they tried outside of fucking Sonic lately. They were just lucky Top Gun 2 happened, or they'd
Yeah.
probably be bankrupt by now.
Well, Top Gun.
And Star Trek might
was
get
in-
bought up by Kurtzman, and or there's a whole convoluted thing going on there.
Oof.
Star Trek might
But-
not be part of the deal.
Well, Top Gun in part was by Skydance as well. So I mean, that's one of the reasons why.
And they
that-
are another player in this game too.
Yeah. Culture. Let's get your thoughts, buddy.
Well, I think it's interesting. None of this can actually fall into place until about April 8th or 9th, when the final little bits left over from the Reverse Morris Trust thing with Warner Brothers actually happens. So when I look at how the playbook goes, this is 100% how I would do it. Is right before the holidays. We have a 4-month window to kind of build things out. Know what's going to go in place, have a good corporate plan to know what officers are going to stick around with the company. As you guys mentioned already, it's not a merger of equals. The more powerful companies, Warner Brothers, you have substantial opportunity here to blend these two studios together. It's not the first time that this has happened between two big studios and then they break apart. Probably the worst decision-making process was done by Sumner Redstone's daughter, Shari, from the very beginning to try to recombine Viacom and CBS back into its own, one entity. Had she never done that, she wouldn't be tasked with a whole lot of debt. And Paramount could have operated entirely separately in a way that they would have naturally led themselves into profitability. But it seems like anybody with the name of Bob is doing a very poor job running a studio right now, and somebody named David is going to be, I guess, Goliath in this case. There you are.
Bob Backish has done nothing but fuck Paramount for years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they made a massive mistake in trying to go into the streaming market when they literally have nothing as well.
Yeah.
It's a fucking joke. Absolute joke. Well, there you have it, ladies and gents. We've got to shuffle on now to a fantastic super chat that just came in. Culture, are you ready for this one, mate?
I am always.
A nog sipping barn for $1.99 says Merry Cyberspunk to all. So if you missed this, if you missed this on the last show, why didn't you watch the last show?
Oh,
There was a bit of a slip of the tongue, wasn't there, Culture? On
I
what
don't know
gun
what
you
you're. I
like,
don't know
you
what
love.
you're talking. Don't know what you're
I
talking.
do. I do.
We all do,
I mean,
and we have the
yeah,
receipt.
we all do. I'm sure Tom could probably get the clip up there that's been shared.
Take
around
me a
on
minute,
Twitter.
but yeah.
I
And we can
don't
listen
know,
to it all again in all of
I-
its glory.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Apparently, he didn't know what we were talking about yesterday on the stream either. Apparently, he denied it straight away. Are you aware of this, Chris? Do you know? Oh, he doesn't know. Oh, he's
I didn't
muted,
say.
but
I didn't
can
say
lip- I
anything.
can lip
By
read,
the
so.
way, I'm developing T-shirts for Cyberspunk. Just so you know.
He didn't say
Oh,
it though.
yeah.
I didn't say
Oh
it.
yeah.
I didn't say it. Cyberpunk 2077 or Cyberpunk is its whole entire world. Cyberpunk 2077 or Cyberpunk is its whole entire world.
You just need to make yourself a whole little button for it in the background. Is what you need to do.
Can we get that as culture as the man that makes my stingers? Can we get that as a stinger?
Sure. Why not?
No, in fact, actually, Tom, can we get a remix song of that?
Oh no!
I can try. I'm not real good at that kind of stuff, but yeah.
Oh boy!
Oh, but honestly, I bet we could get a great remixed track of Cyberpunk 2077 by Culture
That'd be
Casino.
hilarious.
I think that should be in the theme of like the Spider-Man song from the cartoon.
God, I love that.
Cyberpunk.
There you go, Nick.
That will make me happy no end. That whole thing cracks me up. It's the fact you denied it as well.
I didn't know. I didn't realize I
denied
said it.
it.
I didn't realize I said it.
I guarantee you, Tom's already got lyrics rolling through his head right now as we're talking.
I'll try to figure out something. I'm not real good at like the type of stuff where you try to turn stuff into songs. I'm not that technically inclined yet, but I'll see what I can come up with. Maybe
you made a song about a midget. I'm
yeah,
sure
that's different.
That's still the best Christmas song I've ever heard.
That's a labor of love. That's why, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We also have Hairless Primate for £2 says H casting couch featuring Culture Spunk.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Good times. Good times. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, well, ladies and gents, let's shuffle on now. I think what we'll do, we'll get Andre. Shall we get your review of Aquaman?
Oh,
Aquaman 2.
Yeah, certainly, absolutely, happy to.
So, as a bit of context, Andre,
Packed theater.
Completely packed.
Just the
just give me
crowd.
one moment here.
Well, these are the crowds of people that Andre had to contend with whilst going to watch Aquaman.
Did you find a good seat in there?
I think someone's right there in the middle by the looks of it.
Sorry about that, alone with the kids.
No,
someone
right.
is there in the middle. And Mr. H, you want to hear something funny? I spoke with that couple afterwards. Like, that's a young couple. It's like it's the girl to the right from our point of view and the boy to the left. He watches your channel.
Oh, cool.
Wow!
Yeah.
Well, legend! Shout out to the people that Andre spoke to. That's super cool.
Yeah, so that was fun. So I spoke with them, and he watches your stuff. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. And
Come
so
on, talk it to me.
man talking fan wonders which one is Andre. I'm the one holding the camera. So there's 3 people with me there, and then just this was taken. As you can see here, it's like taken at 7:57 p.m. That's 3 minutes before the movie started. The movie started at 8. So it's
You took the picture way before Andre. There was a photo
3 minutes before. And to be fair, there came like 4 or 5 more people in those 3 minutes. But still, there were a total of maybe 6, 7, no more than that, in the theater at the time.
Did they stay to the end?
Yes. Half of them stayed till the end, or at least till the. I don't know if anyone stayed till the very.
That's
end.
not good odds as far as falling out of the.
I left after the post-credit scene. I did not want to go into detail about that in the review I posted yesterday, but boy, there's a lot to say about that post-credit scene. And Chris, you're going to be interested in this one. So will Culture and everyone else. But basically, the movie. The movie is, I know that many are really rooting for the movie to fail, and many typically are going to get caught up with like wanting it to be the worst movie ever. And I'm sorry to disappoint, but it's not the worst movie ever. What this is a dumb, fun action movie that's very family friendly all in all. So it's a typical dumb actioner, really, with a very heavy-handed environmental message. Tonally, it reminds me a little bit of Thor: Love and Thunder, only without the wokeness. Because he seems to have gone, like the director James Wan seems to have gone a little bit Taika Waititi on this one, because it's like that humorous and stuff. The best part of the movie is the intro sequence, where we basically caught up with what has happened over the last 4 years, where we learned that Aquaman, he is now married to Amber Heard. He has a kid that comes with its own challenges. He's a king. Being a king is not all it's cracked up to be. So it's a little bit boring. In this intro sequence here, like these first 3-4 minutes, this is the best part of the movie. I was like, if it continues like this is actually a pretty decent movie. But no, it doesn't continue like that. Because then we cut to the villain. And the villain, of course, is Manta. Like, is it Manta or Black Manta? I've heard people refer to him as Black Manta too. I mean, is
Black
that people
Manta.
projecting his race, or is he actually called Black Manta? I honestly don't know, because I'm not familiar with the comics.
No,
but
it is
either way,
Black Manta.
okay, yeah, but either way, then Black Manta, then he is completely obsessed with getting revenge on Aquaman for killing his father. So he is looking for Atlantis with a bunch of researchers, and who the hell knows how he found them and how he's paying them. But anyway, he's looking for all these researchers. And excuse me one moment, I'm still alone with the kids.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
So while Andre's doing that, I just pulled up my local theater here for tonight's showing. 2 seats have been sold so far.
Wow.
Apologies, back again. So yes, where was I? Yes, Black Manta, the villain, he is looking for Atlantis, and he doesn't find Atlantis, but he finds some other underwater bullshit. He finds some demonic monstrosity, and he finds like this broken black staff or something. I'm sure people who have read it in the comics would recognize it. And anyway, when he touches it, he communicates with what is not literally a demon, but I just called it a demon in my review because that's the easy shorthand. What it actually is, it's the regent of the lost kingdom of Atlantis, because there were like 7 or 8 or something like kingdoms in Atlantis, and the 7th or 8th one, I don't recall the number. They decided to use black magic to gain additional power, and the ruler of this kingdom, he went to war with his brother. That's a theme here of sibling rivalry and everything like that. And he cursed his entire kingdom, so then they became lost and hidden, and they are now cursed. They are trapped in the polar ice cap, and in order to liberate them, then the polar ice has to melt, plus they need the blood of a descendant of King Atlan, which basically means either Aquaman or Aquaman's brother Orm or Aquaman's son. Those are the 3 people he can get blood from. Plus the polar ice cap needs to melt. So basically, this demon, then he tells Black Manta, I will give you all the power that you need to get revenge on Aquaman, but in return, I need you to do these 2 things for me. 1, I need blood from the descendant of Atlan, and I need you to melt all these polar ice caps. So free me from the ice and melt the ice. And now is when we get into the really ham-fisted message. Because how does he do that? And this is something that's revealed over the course of the movie. But this ancient kingdom, they basically used Atlantean oil, for lack of a better thing.
You'd think people underwater would be using whale oil or something.
But this polluted the ocean something fierce, so they stopped with it. But he's like, you know what? Here are all the address of all the caches where all the Atlantean oil is stored. Find it and burn it all and pollute the planet to increase global warming so the polar ice caps melt. That's basically the story of the movie. So the real villain here is fossil fuel and global warming. And then Aquaman has to team up with his brother Orm to stop Black Manta from polluting the world too much. And that basically sets up the body cop aspect of it. So I'm not going to spoil any more right here, but that's the setup for the story.
Tell me about Amber Turd.
She's
Well, was it a good movie? The first, actually, was it a good movie?
It was an
Great
entertaining
actor.
movie. I mean, I've seen, like, for instance, I would mention this in the same breath as Morbius and as Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Then.
Well, there was some fun in Morbius, but yes, but that's what I mean. Like, it belongs in that category. And also with Blue Beetle. I mean, I'd equate it with those. And I enjoyed Black Adam. Black Adam is a hell of a lot better than this. The first Venom is a hell of a lot better than this. The second Venom, yeah, that's kind of like on par with this. Only the second Venom didn't have like this really ham-fisted environmental message here. Amber Heard, yeah, she is in the movie. You can tell that her role has been cut down as much as they possibly could cut it down. But that still means that she has a fairly big presence in it. Like, I don't know how much she is in the movie in terms of like minutes. I've heard some people say it's 10 minutes all told. That could be. I'm not going to dispute that. But those 10 minutes, they are littered all throughout the first act and all throughout the third act. The only time when she is absent is in the second act. Then she's in hospital, then she's recovering. This is something that Tom had heard from his sources. So she's not in hospital for the entirety of the movie, but she is in hospital for the entirety of the second act, and then she's back with a vengeance in the third act. So she has what feels like a very heavy presence. And in terms of screen time, I don't know how many minutes, but if you were to rank all of the characters in the movie, in my estimation, she is the one with the 5th most screen time of everyone in the movie.
Well, you got to remember, we also recently learned that her lawyers got involved with that whole thing too. So, yeah. And not only that, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they just reverted back to one of the older cuts of the film that tested better anyway and just removed anything that promised any future.
Probably that's what they did. I would not be surprised. And also, I will say she is in the movie, but if you completely disregard everything you know, if you just try to forget everything you know about the real Amber Heard, she's not bad. All she has to do is basically stand there and look either in love or worried or angry or whatever have you, depending on the situation. And she does that perfectly fine. So it's not like that she's making the movie worse with her presence alone. The thing that is distracting is what you know about her off camera. But in the movie itself, if you're able to separate yourself from this, I can kind of like see why they didn't want to go through the trouble of recasting her, because her performance here, which doesn't require much, but that performance is perfectly fine. It does in no way actually detract from the movie once you divorce yourself from her off-screen presence. But of course, that's a very tall freaking order.
I've heard, or I've seen what looks like an image. She looks very much older. Like she's looking very weathered around the eyes and stuff. Did it come across in the movie?
She looks older. She looks like she has put on weight and everything like that. But there's a movie reason for it, because again, 4 years has passed and she's had the baby. So you can kind of like get away with that in the movie for that reason. I mean, if she hadn't done that, it would be a completely different matter. But like, this is simply reality. Giving birth, that takes toll on a woman's body. So you can say that that's the in-movie explanation for her looking a little bit more haggard in this movie than she did in the previous ones. I mean, she has obviously put on some weight and stuff. Yeah.
So, Chris, because we've only got you for a short space of time, you got any questions for Andre about the movie?
Ask me about the ending and the bugs and everything, because I think that's something you might get to.
I do want to hear about the ending, but I also heard that it was a little jokier than the previous installment.
The whole movie is a little bit jokier. Yeah, like I got like some Taika Waititi. Like if you had told me that this movie was directed by Taika Waititi, I would have believed you.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
Look-
like very jokey tone throughout the whole thing. It's far less serious, even in
Yeah.
the light of the subject matter. Maybe that's part of the reasons why I get like this Morbius associations in a sense, because you have like this deathly serious subject matter that they treat in such a jokey manner. And that's the really insidious thing about it, because this movie right here, there is no wokeness in it. And what we usually refer to as woke, namely the S in ESG, the social aspect, which is all about the oppressor oppressed matrix, that is completely absent here. There is no misandry, there is no anti-whiteness. There is none of that. There is no shaming anyone for being a man, for being white, for being none. It's completely non-existent.
Okay.
But this is still a very ESG heavy movie, but they go all in on the environment. And they do that to the movie's detriment.
And I predicted that was coming.
Yeah. But I was
kind
kind
of
of
makes
like,
sense for Aquaman, in my mind, that it would be an environmental type movie.
That is kind of fine. But there's a really thing that I thought was insidious. I didn't want to bring it up in the review so as not to go too conspiratorial with it, but I'm just going to share some of the thoughts that I had that like stuck with me the more I thought about it after the fact. And that has to do with the ending. As I said in my review, the end of the DC EU is something that the World Economic Forum absolutely would approve of. Because the movie ends with Atlantis revealing themselves to the world. And the rulers of Atlantis join with the rulers of the world to end global warming and pollution once and for all. Now, we are not treated to the detailed recipe of how it's going to happen, but the message is very clear. The elites of Atlantis and of Earth coming together to rule us all, they can do this. And this goes to the final shot in the movie, which the more I think about it, the more disturbing it is, because it's something that can be treated as a joke. But the more I think about it, the more insidious I think it was.
This is the post-credits scene.
It's a callback to something earlier in the movie and culture. You're going to get a kick out of this too. It's a callback to something earlier in the movie when you have like this interaction between Aquaman and Orm, and they talk about like the old days, how they were fighting, and Aquaman tells them that you need to chill. Like your problem was that you always wanted to destroy the surface world, but you never lived there. You never tried it. You don't know what kind of like delights that you have there. Like for instance, a cheeseburger with a Guinness. You have no idea what kind of delight that is and how much life you get from that. Seriously, you need to go and try a cheeseburger with a Guinness, and then you'll see what life is all about and why the surface dwellers ain't so bad. And they're in the middle of the jungle while this happens. So he's like, okay, there's no cheeseburger right here, but look here is something from the surface world you can try. And then he finds a cockroach. And as a joke, he says, here, try this thing. This is a delicacy that the surface dwellers, they all love it. And so Orm, he tries the cockroach. And
he eats the bugs.
Cockroach. Yeah.
And that's one of the things they're pushing is eating bugs.
Eats the bugs.
He chews it up and he's like, I could get used to this. This ain't so bad.
Oh, God.
It's getting better. Because
his mom did a video clip, of eating bugs. Remember?
Let's now fast forward to the very end of the movie. After the leaders of Atlantis and the leaders of the world has come together and the world is ruled by the elite, as it should be. And they will do whatever it takes to end global warming. And we don't know exactly what that means for the population, that we are not told. But now fast forward to the end credit scene, because Orm, he is now an exile. They basically say that you don't have to return to your cell. You proved yourself to us, so we're going to pretend that you're dead. So just go and live your life. Go to the surface, try some cheeseburgers. And that's what he does. The post-credit scene, that is Orm sitting in the street of New York or something like that. We don't know exactly, but he's sitting and he's trying a cheeseburger. And he's like, this is all right, but something is missing. And then he sees there's a cockroach on the table. And he's like, oh! And he grabs the cockroach and he puts it inside of the burger. And then he eats the burger with the cockroach, and he's like, oh, this is fantastic. And there ends the movie. Now, of course, and there's two levels to this. One, you can have like a joke, how he tried a cockroach, which was meant to be a joke, but he found it delicious, and now he can't be without it. That's one aspect to it. But I think that the more likely thing here is that this is an attempt at subtle what's the word?
Normalization.
Help me out here. My English is failing me. What was that, Chris?
Normalization.
Yeah, normalization, exactly. That they're trying to normalize eating bugs, because that goes right in hand. Because basically what happened at the end of that's how the DC Extended Universe ended. All power was handed to the World Economic Forum. There was absolutely no mention of any superheroes. They don't matter. It's the human leaders of the world that are now in charge to fix everything. And to that end, to try eating some bugs. It's not so bad.
Do you have
the DC Extended Universe?
Do you have any more questions then, Chris?
DC, no, I'm good.
I just wanted you to so that if and when you do see the movie, just have that in mind. And all of you watching, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but now when I have said it,
I don't think you are.
In mind while watching it and see. Is this an attempt at social engineering? That's the word I was looking for.
I think it is, because I saw that from like Bob Iger and other people were saying that they were going to start moving into more of an environmental message, and that's what I was thinking. I'm like, maybe the money ran out in the S and the G, so now they got to go for the E money. And there's like that migration movie coming out that's got a strong message in it too.
Have you seen the video of Nicole Kidman eating bugs?
No. I didn't know there was. You have to hook me up. I didn't know there was such a thing, but I'm going to put that in the post-mortem now.
You need to check that out, because she's a little, acts like any normal person would.
This is why I wanted you here for this, because I know that you can write some very interesting articles on this.
I'll have to add it. Guys, I've got an appointment coming up. I really appreciate being able to join today, Nate.
Thank you for being here, dude.
Want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and happy birthday, Jesus, and all that jazz, and whatever doesn't offend anybody. Season's greetings. And I'll come back on after maybe the new year or something. Thank you, Andre, for that review.
Thanks, Chris.
You take care now, buddy.
See you, Chris.
See you guys.
Peace out. All right, well, ladies and gents, we're going to shuffle on now to also, obviously, you saw Jasper joining. He's now balled up in the corner. So welcome, Jasper, to the hold up. He was actually just behind me on the floor. Now he's chosen the more comfortable sofa. So kudos to him. We're going to get to some super chats. So Hairless Primate for £5 says, overlooking current day stuff and entertainment is tiresome, prevents full engagement. Then just takes you out of the experience. Yet, sort of escapism is now a waning art. We just don't get escapism, unfortunately. Chaos is fun for £1.99. Says, nice to see the real boss Jasper making a cameo. He did indeed. Bless him. I tried to get the camera to zoom in on him as much as possible. That was as close as I could get. Thank you everyone for doing super chats, and again, this is the Christmas stream, obviously usual topics and stuff, but a little bit festive themed. Take the brief intermission now. We're not stopping, don't worry, we're not stopping anything. Got loads of subjects to get to, so we do need to breeze through a lot of stuff. But as you've just seen, lots of super chats. Well, those super chats came through. You want to help out the channel with fan funding, because we do get demonetized here. Super chats are the way to do it. And also membership to the channel or Patreon. So you can find all that stuff linked down below. Super chats you can't, but super chats are the way to interact with us, basically. So please do. Super chats are the way to do it. Please do check out everyone's channel linked down below in the description box as well. That's really important. Please do check them out. If you enjoy any of their input, subscribe over on their channels. And also, we've got 628 people here. I've got to say thank you so much for joining me and everyone else here on this Thursday. You could be anywhere, but you're here with us on your favorite podcast. So thank you so much. I'll just ask one more thing of you. Please do hit that thumbs up button, because it's hopefully to convince YouTube to let you know we are live in future. This video gets unlisted after the fact, so it's not for the video. I don't care about the likes on the video, but it's to hopefully encourage YouTube to send you a notification, because my God, are they terrible at that. So if you could hit that thumbs up button, that would be great. Alrighty then, shall we shuffle on to similar but different? So you said it's not that bad, on par with Morbius.
Yeah,
does
and
appear
so
that
I would
most
I would
people-
expect a solid rotten rating, something just around this. So this, yeah, that's what I said. It's an entertaining movie. It's not a great movie. When I compare it to Morbius and Shazam: Fury of the Gods, I do that with for a reason, and both of those are solidly rotten movies. So I wouldn't expect nothing else of this one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's getting absolutely trounced. What, first and foremost, before we look at some of these reviews, and I wanted to get your review first, because I wanted us to take a look at it and match it up with your review, basically. Do we think that this is going to go down, or do we think it's going to go up? Because only 72 reviews. What do we think? Is this going to go down or up? Nick?
Down, down, down.
Andre says down. Nick? Oh, Nick's buggered off for a bit. Culture, do you think it's going to go down or up?
I think it's going to go down. I'm with Andre, and I think that the audience score will kind of hover around the mid-range. I don't think it's going to go completely rotten. The reason I think that is because there are people that just have zero interest in seeing it, and the Uber Snyder Bros are going to be the ones that really support the film. So you'll get a flood of verified positive reviews.
Okay. Tom, down or up?
I think it's going to hover around the same area here. I think most of the critics have already chimed in, for the most part, outside of the internet critics, probably. So, yeah, unless there's some huge surge among them to stand up for this movie, or there's a bunch of Momoa freaks out there, I don't see this getting any better. It's gone up a little bit since this morning. I think it started around 36%, but yeah, it's not moving around too much.
There. Right, well, I thought we would just take a look at some of these to see what you think. I mean, like, ultimately, I think this will probably go down a fraction. I don't think it'll go down much. I think they always start low, generally speaking, and then they go up. Now, this isn't a Disney movie, so that makes a big difference as well. If it's only an environmental message, I would say it's not woke enough for these lefty critics. So, it's gone up a bit, and then I think it's probably going to go down just a fraction, if at all, and it's probably going to stay around this, give or take. But let's see what you think of these, Andre, and everyone else as well on the panel. The Lost Kingdom is not exactly a good film, but it isn't a bad one either. That's a fresh review. Andre?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm surprised he gives it a fresh review, but that summary is on point. See, this is what I'm saying too. It's not a good film. You can go through it point by point by point and argue why it's a bad film, but I had fun watching it. I mean, I preferred watching that to, for instance, The Marvels or even The Flash. I mean, I'd sooner rewatch this movie than rewatch The Flash.
Wow. Negative one here, 2 out of 5, says, while affable star Jason Momoa still gives his all as the bro dude king, water dude bro, I coined that, of Atlantis, the sequel to the 2018 original suggests a creative team that checked out long ago.
Well, as
I
I
would say
detailed in my
3.
review, all the problems that they had with dealing with 3 different regimes that all wanted different things. I mean, no wonder they were going to check out. So, yeah, can't argue with them.
I was going to say, mainly, surely it was all the reshoots that happened as well, because there's so many bloody reshoots. Were they noticeable?
And the
in this
funny
film?
thing is that all the reshoots, they were out for nothing because they ripped out all the reshot stuff anyway.
Oh, God.
So it was
Big waste
was
of
for
time.
nothing.
What was the CGI like? Because I've heard it's terrible.
It's terrible, yeah.
Oh, so it's terrible. It's just terrible CGI then, yeah.
It's there. I mean, I was never
was even
wowed
good or
by
bad?
how good it is, but I also never thought, "Whoa, this is shit." It was just,
Oh, okay.
it was even worse because it was just bland and mediocre throughout.
Right. Was it on par with The Flash or worse? Or better, sorry.
Well, there's no like baby and microwave sequence, so it was better than that.
Okay, all right.
Because there was like no sequence that was like so ridiculous. Well, the whole thing was ridiculous, but there was like no nuke the fridge moment or baby in the microwave moment where like, oh my god, I'm out. Like there was no moment like that.
So we've got this review says the characters are a bunch of nothing burgers. They have no development. They're just kind of there.
True.
The sequel is more of the same, much more in terms of the pile on of the bells and whistles.
No, this I disagree with. I mean, this is like a self-referential parody of the first one. It's not more of the same because there were good aspects of the first one. It took itself seriously, and this one doesn't. This is basically, if you say that the first one was Batman Forever, this is Batman and Robin. This is giving it the Taika Waititi gone nuts overhaul. I don't know what I mean here. This is not more of the first. This is
right.
The ridiculousness of the first without any of the seriousness, and then that ramped up.
So what they did with Venom then, basically, because Venom had some sort of serious.
Yeah, exactly. This again, this is
all the jokes. Yeah.
That's actually a very, very fair comparison. That's the best comparison I've heard so far. Yeah, as I said, like the first Venom is far, far better than this movie, but this is on par with Venom Part 2.
Well, let's do all the fresh ones now, because all the negative ones are probably going to be about the same. But I get the feeling everyone was just calling it in on this one. A wait for screening for all, but the most devoted fans. They gave this a B-. But she says, I get the feeling everyone was phoning it in, basically. Like, what?
I have to say, there's a really big inflation around like A's and B's. I mean, more movies should probably get C's and D's.
50 bucks. $50.
I wouldn't say, yeah. Getting them $50.
Yeah, it's Christmas.
Yeah, true. It is Christmas. We're on the Christmas.
Christmas gifts are expensive.
Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is slightly predictable, but still entertaining. That's a 3.5 out of 5. What would you give it out of 5?
2.5.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't know. Here's like the thing. Like I don't know that I would go up to a 3, but I don't know that I would go down to a 2. So it'd be like hovering right around 2 or 3, depending on what I choose to give more weight. Like, for instance, the good thing about it, the best thing about it is this focus on family, which is something we haven't really seen in movies as of late. Whereas this one is all about the love between a parent and the child and between siblings. And I'm like, I'm going to give plus points for that, but then I want to give minus points for the whole WEF thing. So what is more important in the final evaluation? I don't really know, because there you have something good mixed in with something insidious. So is it a 2 or is it a 3? I'm going to give a 2 out of 5 out of,
Yeah, well, they give this. Now, this one gives it a 6 out of 10. Says, if Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is truly the end of this current incarnation of the extended DC Comics cinematic universe, Jesus Christ, that's a long one. At least things are going out on a lighthearted and fun note. I'm sure you probably agree with that, to be honest. Don't you?
Yeah, apart from the eating of the bugs. I know it was supposed to be fun, but I don't think it was funny at all.
It's disposable entertainment that feels at times like the world's coolest screensaver or weirdest aquarium. Dive in, but don't expect to get too deep.
I have to say, I think it's funny because I think all of these are largely on point. I mean, they're all accurate and they all reflect a different aspect of the movie. You see, none
How
of
about
these
this one?
describe a good movie and not a
A
too bad
bonkers,
movie.
a bonkers adventure film all about family. 7 out of 10.
I don't know how to give it a 7 out of 10, but yeah, it is all about family. This is true.
Momoa is channeling his Fast X villain flamboyance into his heroic character, yet the film arrives at sincere places after all the sarcasm.
That's bullshit. He's channeling his inner Jason Momoa. It's Jason Momoa being Jason Momoa, performing in a Jason Momoa vehicle. I mean, that's what it is, right? Jason Momoa, he fundamentally has one character in him, and that's Jason Momoa. And how good or bad he is in the role depends on how like that character is Jason Momoa. On this one, he goes all in on Jason Momoa. I mean, that's what he's doing. Maybe this reviewer didn't get that.
There's a 7 out of 10 here. 3C Films, he's a YouTuber. So Aquaman 2 embodies the charm of a Saturday morning cartoon with more positive aspects than negative. However, it's burdened by serving as a conclusion for the DCEU, despite its intention to be nothing more than a lighthearted and fun sequel. But surely if it's got no reference to the DCEU, that doesn't make any sense because it's not burdened by anything.
Yeah, there's absolutely no other references here to anything else in the DCEU. So this is kind of like, yeah. I mean, I would say that the proper end was The Flash, which ended with George Clooney is now the Batman in the DCEU, and this was kind of like a postscript to that, I guess. This is like the whole movie is a post-credit scene to the DCEU.
That's a good way of looking at it. Well, there you go, everyone. Hopefully that's satiated your need for Aquaman.
Well, I have to still see this piece of crap today.
You don't have to. Hearing your thoughts, especially now when I've alerted you to mind the eating of the bugs, because it took me a while before it clicked for me that, oh wait, shit, WEF ending and eating the bugs. This was more than just a joke.
I've got to chime in on that eating the bugs business, because loads of people keep pushing this. It would actually be, if you were to eat bugs in the level required to hit protein requirements as a human, you would actually reach a level of toxicity on certain vitamins and minerals that are actually held within the insects that they want you to eat. Just as an FYI, that's a fact. You can go look it up. It's incredibly dangerous. No one should be ever eating bugs. Go have a bloody steak.
Well, let's just say that the people that push for you to eat bugs, they will have the steaks that remain.
Bunch of wankers.
Yeah, it's not about them. It's about you.
Yeah.
And what's
it's really about them.
I'm Nicole.
She's eating the bugs.
I'm going to eat a 4-course meal of bugs. Talent eating micro livestock, cornworms. They're still alive.
Yeah, how much you want to bet she's going to throw that up the moment the cameras have rolled and have a nice,
moist,
succulent.
There was a cut there. We don't even know if she's really eating those worms anyway.
Yeah,
there was a cut there.
This is for the camera, for the
try the
pleb.
second course, shall we?
She looked quite repulsed doing that.
Side note,
I did not see any kind of enjoyment.
I want to see them fuckers moving when she puts them on her tongue.
I want to see her swallow.
Mealworms.
I used to want to see her swallow.
That's the face of an
aquarium.
They are not showing it close enough to where I can tell if they're real or not.
Taste. I'd recommend it. Here we have.
Oh, cuts before it, just as she was supposed to.
That's what I'm saying. It always cuts just before. Those crickets are not as big as the ones they just showed us.
Like nothing you've ever tasted. Like
and cut before they swallow. I want to see you swallow, and I don't see any swallowing going on here. She's laughing at the pleb. Like,
they have a garbage can right off camera for her to peek in.
The fried grasshopper. These.
My God, what a shit actress!
Are amazing.
She doesn't even believe it herself.
Exquisite.
Look,
she eats like a weirdo.
Grasshoppers.
Not that I eat
Ugh.
really. I'm like a pig when I eat, but
Right, well, there you go.
Oh,
Wow. Anyway, let's
Weirdos.
shuffle on away from that nonsense. We've got
Yikes.
super chats here from Jason Webster for 10 Australian dollars. Says, I estimate that by the end of Aquaman 2's theatrical run, Black Adam, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, The Flash, and Aquaman 2 could combine for a theatrical loss of 779 to 879 million loss for Warner Brothers. That is a very, 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 very good super chat, Jason. The Flash. What did the Flash take worldwide? Culture, get on this. What did the Flash take worldwide?
$6.
No, come on, seriously.
Give me a second. Goodness.
Well, because Black Adam took 300 odd million, $329 million.
I want to say it was in a very similar category. My gut instinct is always like, oh, here it is. It's even less. 266,500,000.
Right, so that film has lost bare minimum $200 million.
Shazam was 133.8 million.
Fury of the Gods, the Shazam 2.
Yep.
So that's lost bare minimum.
Oh no. Yeah, no, that is right. Shazam 2, yeah, it was 133.8.
What was the budget for that one? I can't remember.
125.
125 million. So that's
so with the
that's bare
marketing and
minimum, like
everything,
150 odd.
yeah, in the theater
bare
cuts,
minimum 150 odd, yeah.
Yeah.
So you got 3+.
Well,
I'm talking bare minimum conservative. Black Adam, that had a big budget as well because that was in development.
200 million for the budget there for Black Adam. It had it earned 390 global.
So that's probably lost bare minimum 150 million.
Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah.
So we're already at over 500 million now.
Yeah.
Aquaman 2, what was the budget on that?
Well, we know it was over 200 million. Exactly what? I mean,
I think this is a pretty good. I think this is a good
205
estimate by
million.
Jason, actually.
yeah.
What do we reckon? That's a good estimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include marketing, of course, but so
Yeah, I'm just doing. Thoughts. Jason's
I-
comment here.
I think he's
700,
probably right.
800?
Yeah, I think he's pretty close to spot on. It'll be right under $1 billion loss between all these films.
Just on the DCU as well.
And it's I mean, look, you're looking at but Disney is trying to hide underneath $1 billion loss for the year, which we know is a lie. They've lost way more than $1 billion for the year theatrically. You know, because Warner Brothers lost $1 billion this year. So I mean, this is it's I'm just not surprised. I don't know about the rest of you.
Well, a lot of these losses, like, we got to keep in mind that a lot of this shit was done and over with way before this year. Like, Flash was shot back in 1983.
Oh yeah.
That's why the CGI was so bad.
Yeah. I mean, even Shazam was what, like almost 3 years old by the time it hit the fucking screen. Aquaman 2 is another one that was shot almost 4 fucking years ago.
Well, and Zachary Levi looked like he'd aged like 700 years between the Shazam films.
Well, the kids aging didn't help either.
That didn't help.
They looked like they were kids in the last movie. Now they look like they're ready to collect some Social Security or something.
It wasn't quite that bad, but good joke.
That was a good joke.
It was a good joke. That's what I said.
Andre,
But
what
they
do you
got
reckon?
Barbie.
Oh, that's true. Do you reckon the DC will lose close to $1 billion when all is said and done? Andre's gone.
Andre's
He
dead.
must have stepped away, probably dealing with the kiddos.
Well, I love this comment. I think this is great. Cheers, Jason. I would agree with you there, buddy. Israel R drops in with $5. Says, so Aquaman 2 is DCEU's Thor, Love and Thunder, maybe.
Well, Thor
does
Love
sound
and
like-
Thunder is a far better. No, sorry. Aquaman 2 is a far better movie than Thor Love and Thunder, because Thor Love and Thunder is woke in that it treats Thor as an enemy. It makes him an idiot. It emasculates him, all of these things, because it goes into the S in the ESG. There is none of that in Aquaman 2. This makes Aquaman 2 the more entertaining movie. Like, I will never, ever, ever watch Thor: Love and Thunder again under any circumstance. Whereas Aquaman 2 is a movie that you actually can have fun with if you combine it with a drinking game or something.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So let's go and get to this is a good bit of fun. I can't believe this actually came back up. So, bit of a background, ladies and gents. The People's Joker was a movie that was going to be at Toronto International Film Festival last year. It's a story about a trans Joker questioning. It's a gender bending Joker, right? Questioning their gender identity in a Gotham City, in a world where comedy is outlawed, and the Batman is the one that fights comedy and outlaws comedy, and it's about that. And so it was going to be at TIFF. I think it was. I think they did show it somewhere as well, but Warner Brothers stepped in and was like, "You've literally just ripped off our characters. This is not really a parody now. Fuck off." Somehow it's coming back. Now there is some comedy in this for a few reasons, because one, it's been acquired by an indie distributor called Altered Innocence. Now I would say that's an incredibly nefarious it's hiding in plain sight. Altered Innocence is quite literally what these individuals want to do to your children. So I'm just going to say that from the off. So that's quite gross. And this is the personification of what we all hate recently, is these individuals take your characters that you like, rewrite them as just a vehicle for their own trauma. Basically, their own trauma and their own issues. It quite literally says here, so co-written by Vera Drew and Brie LaRose, the film reimagines the origin story of iconic Batman villain the Joker, sees Drew's painfully unfunny, aspiring clown grapple with her gender identity whilst unsuccessfully attempting to join the ranks of Gotham City's sole comedy program. In a world where comedy has been outlawed, uniting with a ragtag team of rejects and misfits, Joker Harley Quinn forms an illegal anti-comedy troupe that puts her on a collision course with the devious Cape Crusader controlling the city. Well, one, these left-wing lunatics quite literally want to control your speech and make sure you can't joke about everything you want to joke about. No, we want to control your speech. You can only joke about certain things. So, one, Altered Innocence, that's gross. The people that bought this, that's nefarious. Two, this is like a slap in the face. We're going to make a riff on your property that you love so much, DC, Batman, Joker, and we're also going to flip it. So actually it's you that are controlling, Batman's a fascist. He's controlling comedy, not us, not the left-wing lunatics that control speech and want to make you say certain things, and that it's insane. So there are a few things to kind of go into just before we kind of get here, right? So loads of people cameoing in it, people I've never heard of, except for Bob Odenkirk. He should never have been in this, idiot. And there's a statement from Altered Innocence, and they say Vera Drew has taken her own life experiences and traumas to craft an entirely new genre of cinema. Yeah, funny dog shit.
Yeah.
That blurs the lines between documentary, coming of age film, and parody. No, just dog shit. We couldn't be more thrilled to champion this bold, intelligent, and hilarious piece of queer cinema that audiences around the globe have fallen in love with. I said in my video, and I stand by this, no one's falling in love with it because they're not people. They don't have personalities. They're just bare shells that parrot the same garbage. No actual person has fallen in love with it. Drew said she's absolutely thrilled. This movie started as a DIY community project for queer artists, and I made it with my friends to process. It's literally she made it to process what it was like coming out as a trans woman. Could it be any more? This is stop using properties as a vehicle for your fucking trauma, right? I don't want to pay to watch you go through a therapy session. Fucking pay a therapist to deal with your trauma. right? Same as a comic. I don't want to read a comic that has become a vehicle for you to deal with your trauma. I'm so fucking sick of paying people to read or watch their trauma. It's such wank. Oh God.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I agree.
I've
It's
got
kind
blood
of moved
fucking
away
fuse in a minute.
from.
You chime in.
I was just gonna say it's kind of moved away from, you know, the classic comic book stories of the good guy versus the bad guy, and you know the fighting, you know, good versus evil, all that sort of stuff, and interesting story with other characters getting involved and different superpowers and all that, to real life, you know, therapy sessions with people with mental issues. Like, how is that a fun thing to watch or read? I don't get it. But this is the world we live in today. Culture.
I was never interested in this film to begin with. I thought it was kind of a laughing stock. I figured it would never make it to the cinemas because of, you know, everything that it touched on, and the fact that, you know, there really wouldn't have been any broad support for it. So the fact that somebody decided to go out there and acquire it and then try to release it in theaters, that's kind of the other joke here, because they've played or clowned themselves, and I think that'll ultimately show up at the end of the day. It's also going to not represent the, you know, the broad diverse community that they're trying to, in a way that's positive. So I think it's also detrimental on both sides of the equation.
The writer, the star, the person that's injecting her own trauma into this garbage, says it's been a long road freeing the People's Joker and finding a release plan that rings true to the queer anarchist spirit we had while making it. What better home than among Altered Innocence's catalogue of gorgeously gay and deliciously edgy films?
Ugh.
Fuck off and die. Honestly,
Oh.
this stuff is just degenerate crap. And again, need I point out the fact that Altered Innocence, disgusting name, truly subversive, I think. It's hiding in plain sight. And two, Vera, you are the type that would say, no, you can't joke about trans people, all right? You're the type that would say, no, you can't joke about women. No, you can't joke about this. No, you can't make jokes about black people, or you can't make jokes about babies or anything. And you've made a film talking about people policing comedy. You are the biggest, most raging hypocrite I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Why Warner Brothers isn't clamping back down on this, I have no idea, because they
tried,
like,
didn't
no.
they?
And they succeeded. They succeeded. It got pulled from TIFF. I don't understand what's happened.
I don't know if they can really do much about it because it's parody. That's the fucking problem.
I don't think it is. I think it's literally like, I think they are ripping off. I don't know. I don't know.
The only thing I can't understand is how they got away with the title. Other than, I guess, unless they couldn't,
not parody.
Unless
They're
they couldn't
literally using Batman.
Well, I mean, the story itself is clearly a parody of the Joker, right? Now, my big question is, how are they getting away with using the title with the Joker in it, unless Warner Brothers couldn't copyright Joker because it's such a mundane word in the daily lexicon? But now using the term Batman, that I could, yeah, this is where I don't understand. And at this point, if they're able to release it, that means both lawyers have gone through this thing with a fine-tooth comb, and Warner Brothers must have figured there was nothing they could do about it. That's what I see here, because at this point, because this has been how many months since this originally came out? Almost a year?
Last year.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was like a while back when we first heard about this and it was supposed to be dropping or whatever. But then, yeah, as far as I know, Warner had tried stopping it, and maybe their lawyers had been working something out behind the scenes all this time. Who knows? But the fact that they were able to drop it like this, or going to drop it like this, tells me they probably worked it all out.
Hate it.
I think it's stupid. I think it's pathetic. I mean, if you're going to do something original.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I'm not a fan of fan films. Sorry for those who are. But to me, I feel like it's great. You just wasted a bunch of money so you'll never work in Hollywood. Because here's the thing. Either you're not nearly as good as you think you are, or you're better than them, so they're never going to hire you because you've embarrassed them, especially if you're doing something that's one of their own properties. The first thing they're going to do is blackball your ass.
Well, to push back on that a little bit, Tom, just a tad, Shamook, who did the which it's not really a fan film, but the edits on the deepfake stuff, then turned around and got hired by,
and then he got
by,
shit
Disney.
canned.
Yeah, no, he quit and went and got another offer from another company and left ILM. And
I think that was
else.
all a big fucking publicity stunt, to be honest with you, Nick.
It might be. We've
But
had
that is the exception. Lucas is somebody who always has embraced the fan film
Yeah.
community, but nobody else really has.
Yeah, we talked to him several times and been trying to set up to get him to come on the show to talk about his experience in that whole ordeal. But supposedly it's going to happen sometime after the first of the year. But I'd be curious to pick his brain on what it was like working over there at modern day Disney, Star Wars, Lucasfilm.
Well, I haven't heard from you, Andre, on this. Or is he dead again?
Well,
I
I
think he's
haven't
still-
really.
oh,
I
here
don't
he's
really
back.
have much to add. Like you've said it all already. It's a project. I wish Warner luck in stopping it. I think it's incredibly subversive, harmful for society. No good can come of it. I mean, I think that these people there. I wish them well, and I wish them many a therapy session.
Too kind. Zodlander chimes in, says the real horror behind the Joker character is that no one knows who he is or where he came from. When Hollywood tries to define the Joker, it takes the power of the Joker's horrifying nature. Why do this? Well, because subversion, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole generation who doesn't understand the Joker. Let's be real here. There is a whole group of people that put the Joker up on some kind of pedestal. Like, look, I get it to think he's cool and like to have him be a character or whatever that you like to read about or see in movies and stuff, but to try and emulate him and all these women who are like, I want a relationship like Joker and Harley. It's like, no, you don't. It's like, do you really see what that relationship is like? This is like a modern issue too. And this is kind of where I didn't hate the Joker movie, but I kind of thought it was setting a bad precedent. And what I mean by that is this is kind of more of the same crap of a problem we've had with a lot of our films, especially superhero movies, where these writers nowadays don't understand heroes, but they sure do understand villains.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is they have fundamentally misunderstood the whole idea of what it means to be a hero, where you have something tragic happening to you, but you rise above it and try to do the best you can to make sure that never happens to anybody else again. A villain, on the other hand, is somebody who has something happen to them and they act out upon society and try to, take revenge, right? And these people emulate these kind of people. Like, that's what their daily lives are. And to see something like this, I get it. It's probably just a joke. It's just a parody. But I see where you're coming from, Nate, as far as it encroaching a bit too much. As a creator, if I was creating something and somebody did something like this similar to my creation, I would probably get upset. But the problem you have here is the Joker's already a ripoff of Taxi Driver and the King of Comedy.
And also, even in the comics, the Joker is a ripoff of I forget his name. Basically, from the man who couldn't stop laughing,
can't stop laughing, or whatever.
Yeah, the movie from the 1930s. If you look at the poster of that movie, you see instantly where the Joker is ripped off from.
Well, the visual style definitely was.
Yeah. The man who laughs, Invictus Antithethis, says in the comments. Yeah, exactly right. So yeah, that's kind of like their issue, because so many things are rip-offs from other things, and sometimes the rip-off becomes a new original, which is better than what inspired it in the first place. But this ain't one of those cases.
Oh God, no.
Well, and you know what you're not hearing tied to this particular, perverted tale of the Joker. You're not hearing the same kind of rhetoric around, well, now there's going to be mass shootings at theaters.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to watch this thing.
But you understand, at any other time, we've heard since all the way back in 2012 with when the Joker appeared in the second Batman movie, the Nolan Batman film, that this would inspire school shootings. And then we heard the same thing around Arthur Fleck's Joker that Joaquin Phoenix played. We're not hearing that this time, are we?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, true.
Andre, I'm guessing this is who you're referring to. Conrad.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
I
Yeah,
did.
Conrad Weit's character. When you
Victor
look at
Hugo's
that,
The Man Who
it's
Laughs.
very, very obvious that this is the inspiration for the Joker, isn't it?
Yeah.
But of course,
Yeah.
that's only his appearance, like his personality.
Yeah, because the character
Nothing
himself
like
is
the
actually a
Joker.
very tragic character. Yeah.
Very tragic character, and
Mhm.
he's not evil. He's not the psycho. He's basically just mutilated.
Suffers from the condition of not being able to do anything but smile. Yeah.
Yeah, the condition that came about by his lips being cut away.
Got a super chat here from WCW2793 for $10. Says REH's point. The only time where someone was able to take their trauma and turn it into something good was J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, but that's because they had actual trauma from fighting in.
A lot of people can take trauma and turn it into good. It's just these
Yeah.
modern storytellers don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Well, their trauma isn't trauma for starters.
That's
their
the other
trauma-
problem. Yeah.
And also they're not actually they're not using their trauma for an
Self-therapy
inspiration for a
section.
narrative. What they're doing is literally going, I'm just going to put myself into a character's shoes, and what I've had happen to me, have that character do the same thing. I'm going to be the character's going to be me, rather than saying, there's no change, there's no inspiration, there's no philosophical
There's no
sort of
growth. There's
permutations of
Yeah.
the trauma there. It's literally what they perceive as trauma just being word for word the same bloody thing in a movie.
Well, and they
that's
don't-
just fucking creative
But
bankruptcy.
Nate, they have no life experience to compare it to. Again, none of these
No.
people have ever done anything or had anything significant happen in their life outside of going to school and finding some gender studies class. So, I mean, that's about it. That's not an intriguing story. There's no arc to that character.
No, there isn't. Well, they don't have any arcs. Their life is bland, boring NPC level shit. So, absolute garbage. We'll shuffle on to some of these super chats, ladies and gents. We've obviously been doing them for pertaining to the Joker, but we'll move on to some others now as well. Jason Webster says, update, Godzilla -1 is about to cross $70 million US. We can clearly say it will have surpassed Shin Godzilla as the highest grossing solely Toho produced film in the franchise by the end. It's also the highest grossing live action Japanese film as well. And also they've just announced that they're doing a Godzilla black and white version that they're going to be releasing January 6th in Japan. And
That'll
it's
be
not just
amazing.
it looks amazing. They've done a
I've not
whole new
heard that.
trailer for it as well.
Is this basically the black and white version of the of Godzilla -1?
Yes, it is Godzilla -1 minus color, but it's
Right. So
they've gone back and
Yeah.
re-edited it frame by frame, and it's not like, oh, we've just done a black and white filter. They spent real time on it. They've basically gone
Oh,
back
wow.
to the drawing board to make it a brand new color edit. Like it's
Do you-
not.
Do you think if we get the 4K physical release of it, we'll get both films,
Gotta hope
both
so.
versions? That would
I
be
hope
awesome.
so. I mean, they'd be
Here's a trick.
stupid
All
if
you
they
got to
didn't.
do is turn the color off.
Yeah, but
yeah.
well, to what Nate was saying, if they're going frame by frame and actually altering the film, not just doing the black and white filter, I'd love to see that version also on a 4K disc.
Well, they have done that before. I mean, both Logan and Mad Max Fury Road got
Yeah.
black and white versions, and apparently those two were also. Oh, and also the Snyder Cut. They did the same thing there. Now, how much they did frame by frame versus how much was just a black and white filter, that I honestly do not know. But this has happened
So-
a few times. So I'm sure that this is going to be in a very highly special 4K edition that's limited and cost extra. So I'm sure you'll be able to get it that way.
Watch some of this, guys. It's amazing. The detail, that is not just a filter.
Am I the only one who still thinks this is kind of stupid?
That's amazing.
I
think it's fucking stupid. I'm sorry.
What's stupid? What's stupid?
The movie's in fucking color. Like, what the hell? Like, I just
no, that's amazing. You got to remember, these people love the original stuff, right? Toho. You got to remember,
I
Toho,
guess, but I just think it's fucking dumb. I'm sorry.
It's an artistic thing.
It's not just that. Toho are appealing to their core audience. No, absolutely not. We always honestly, got to pull you up on this, Tom, because you got to remember we're the people that champion studios listening to their fans. This is the epitome of listening to your fans. This is
when did somebody ask for a black and white version?
Mate, everyone fucking wants it. Everyone
Good for you.
Really
I'm not buying it. I'm not spending extra money on a black and white
you're
version.
obviously not the target audience for this, Tom. Apparently, there are many others.
Fans, man.
I see where they're
this
coming
will make
from.
Bank. This will make bank.
There's two sides to
honestly.
This. One, because this movie is obviously made today in color. The 4K Blu-ray is going to be absolutely amazing in color. But here's like the thing. The whole idea with this release is obviously to make it more authentic, not just to the original, but to the idea of a period piece.
Yeah,
basically, that what if this movie actually came out in the 50s? This is what it would have looked like at the time. So you see it kind of as like a documentary from the time, using the technology of the time. Now I see where Tom is coming from, obviously, but at the same time, this hits on the nostalgia trip. Like for myself, like I'm much more interested in the color version because I don't see the appeal. I have no appeal for this particular movie, but I understand the fans that want this black and white version because my favorite.
It wasn't shot in black and white though. That's my fucking problem.
Yeah,
so
I know,
get a lot of people like bitching at me,
again.
but I'm like, yeah, it's gonna look like shit.
It doesn't look like shit. I've just shown you. It looks amazing.
I didn't see shit in there but black and crap. I can't even make out half of what I'm looking at.
You can't make out any of this. Are you
it looks like shit.
But again, Tom, you're not the target audience for this particular.
I think black and white versions of color movies are pretentious and shit. They look smudgy and budgy, and I can't tell one thing from the other. If a movie was shot in black and white, that's a different story because they're actually lit and shot in black and white. That's probably the best shot I saw, and that's CGI.
Really? Tom, now. Come on now. Well, anyway, the director made a statement.
Want to do it? That's fine. I could have just turned the color off on my TV and saved myself $40 on another Blu-ray.
That's the irony. I think that if you
just listen,
if you were to turn on the color filter and then compare that to this version here that has been like hand done, barely able to tell the difference.
So Godzilla -1 minus color, which has been in the works for a long time, will finally release. The team did not just make the film monochrome, but coordinated it shot by shot, making full use of various mattes, grayscale images used to specify only the necessary area in each material when comprising multiple image materials, as if they were creating a new film. The goal was to create an image tone as if taken by the masters of black and white photography. I asked them to unearth as much skin texture and landscape detail as possible, which were latent in the captured data. Then Godzilla appeared as terrifying and horrifying as in a documentary, a new sense of reality that looms over you by losing colors. Please come to the theater and live and resist the further horror. I think this is amazing. I know you don't like it, Tom. I get that. I respect your opinion, chap. I respect your opinion. I'm all about this, though. And I think Toho...
I'll give them the credit they actually went back and just didn't do a filter, but still, it's like, whatever.
Well, the thing is, they are listening to their audience, right? And I said I respect your opinion because I do, Tom. Very clearly that you're not the target for this. And, and that doesn't mean your opinion's invalid. Absolutely not. But we've got to say, give them their dues. When we bitch and moan that studios don't listen to their fans, and you've got Toho here going, well, we know what we made this. What are the most well-liked ones? Yeah, black and white. Yeah, okay. This is reinvigorating the franchise. It's essentially a remake of the original. So why don't we make it in black and white as well? I mean, that's them really, I think, giving the fans the utmost respect, personally.
Mr. H,
And-
when is this thing to be released? It says here, please come to the
it's
theater
January.
and live. Is there any chance
January, isn't it?
that this version right here is going to come
January 12th.
with Japanese theaters in January 12th? Is there any
Yep.
chance that this is going to come to UK theaters in January?
I hope
Because
so.
I totally
I hope
haven't checked that out.
I hope so, because
And
we
in
never
January, I can.
we never got when they announced that Godzilla -1 was being released and just being released. They never actually said it was being released in the US or UK at that point in time. It was just Japanese release, and then other distributors picked it up. So we may learn about this in the coming weeks, that it's coming to the US and coming to the UK. Hopefully this happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully it does, because
And-
I genuinely would go back and watch this.
Yeah, I would say it too. And I agree with what Nate's saying, and I agree with what Tom's saying in a certain aspect. Like, I wouldn't want to see a black and white version of like Avatar or, Predator or Aliens or something like that. Certain movies, though, such as this one, Godzilla -1, or if you take like an old Western, like Tombstone or something like that, films like that, I would mind seeing a callback to a black and white version, from the origin of the time when they were making those films and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of OG fans, appreciate that version also as kind of a callback to the old school movies, of the 30s, 40s, 50s, So yeah, I completely see what Tom's saying, and I agree to a certain extent. But yeah, this would definitely be one that I would definitely check out in black and white. But I would not feel that way about all films.
My reaction was to everybody trying to change my fucking mind. That's what I was reacting to.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if we're trying to change your mind. Just a different perspective. Like I said, I respect your opinion. Culture, would you? Because I know
I'll be seeing it in black and white.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, I'll be buying it in black and white. Yeah, I think that this is going to take me back to the childhood that I was I'd almost completely recaptured.
Yeah, exactly.
With the film, and so I feel like, and with the level of detail, and look at how detailed that is, just in that, that
this is a bad image as well.
I would love to see the movie like this the first time I see it.
That'd be interesting to get your reaction.
Because that's why I'm hoping that this comes to the UK in January, so I can go and see it there, because I haven't seen it yet. This
is something that the Prince Charles Theatre in London would probably end up trying to snag, I reckon.
Cool. Yeah.
They do.
You know what? Do keep an eye out for that and keep me posted. Because I
can
give another example. Because I said before, like in my opinion, the best fan edit ever created is the Spice Diver version of Dune. The second best fan edit, in my opinion, is the Phantom Strikes by Bionic Bomb, I think is the name. Basically, this is a fan edit of the 1996 Phantom with Billy Zane, which is a decent enough movie. But what he did makes it amazing, because he cut down the most excesses of Treat Williams' performance, and he took away some snips here, some snips there, and then he applied a black and white filter so that the whole movie is now black and white. This is amazing, because the movie takes place in 1938, which is the pulp era. It's a pulp era movie. It was created in black and white. So, and it's also filmed in like that style. So there's many reasons why having it in black and white is appropriate for the time. And then when you remove that stupid purple outfit and everything, it's just becomes so much better. I mean, it even hides the shoddy CGI that they had at the time. All of that is removed in black and white. It becomes a 10 times better movie in black and white.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jason Webster, my dude, for that $10 super chat. It just spurred on a very interesting conversation that will be clipped and will be available on the second channel. I just got to say, you probably.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, ladies and gents, you've probably just seen the screen flashing on my face here and there. We are demonetized, so I've got to say a massive thank you to everyone sending in the super chats. It genuinely helps out the podcast. So if you want to, again, join in the conversation, get us to talk about anything, or just simply help us out, super chats are the way to do that. Thank you so much. I don't know why we've been demonetized, but it's just what happens, apparently. So sorry, what were you going to say, Nick?
I was going to ask Tom a quick question. Would you feel better about it if it was shot in black and white and they released that version first and then later they did a color correction on it, or put it re-released it in color?
If it was shot in black and white, that'd be a different story. That's what I was talking about. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
So we'll shuffle on to some more super chats here real quick. So Wartooth88 for $5 says, I'm glad my sci-fi gun question has brought so much happiness this Christmas. May Cyberspunk bring joy as a living internet meme this holiday season.
I'm sure it will, Wartooth. Thank you.
It will live on in infamy.
That was it cracks me up every time. Every time. Israel R $5 says, Miss H, your video on the trans joke was spot on. It's getting tiresome how these people are destroying pop culture this way. Yep. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Marshmallow for £5 drops in, says, just popped on to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Mr. H and Sir Jasper. We will be streaming next week between Christmas and New Year, so we'll still be around. But this is the Christmas stream. It's the show before Christmas. So thank you so much, my dude. Jonas, who couldn't make it today, unfortunately, drops in for $5. Says, Merry Christmas, Mr. H, Andre, Tom, Nick, and most importantly, Jasper. Proper conked out at the moment. You are all good boys. Well, thank you so much, Jonas, my dude.
Hell,
appreciate that. And then we've got one here from Gears Stark for $4.99. Says, the reason women want to have a Joker Harley relationship is so that the woman is Joker and the man is Harley. Anyway, Merry Christmas, guys. Yeah, I guess. Well, I don't think that's strictly true, but I think women are a bit deranged when it comes to that. No. Mikey here, Mexican Iron Man, $9.99 says, this is freaking amazing. I love this, and I'm buying this as soon as possible. This is the black and white Godzilla movie he's talking about. I sent you a link actually to drop on this stream, my dude. I'm assuming you're busy, which is a shame, but never mind. Macadama for $10 says, trauma for many of today's of lame writers is having to wait 5 minutes for their mocha latte at Starbucks. You are absolutely right. Like, unequivocally, that is trauma for these people. Mickey O for $4.99 says, Tom is such a buzzkill. Tom is not a buzzkill. He's just expressing his opinion. And I don't want everyone on this panel either. One, I really appreciate the super chat, by the way. I'm not trying to say, well, you shouldn't send it. But just to explain, I'm glad that we're not all singing from the same hymn sheet. It's better that way.
Yeah.
You know,
you don't want to be in an echo chamber.
Exactly. We've all got, it took a while to sort of assemble a panel. We've all got chemistry. We all chit chat quite well. And so it's good that although we can disagree, although we, chit chat quite well, we still have differences of opinion. Like many people in Tom's position there, we're talking about these kind of writers, for instance, would probably thought everyone's ganging up on him. Not the case. It's good to have resilience and have your own opinion and stand by it and things like that. So, no, not really a buzzkill. But again, do appreciate the super chat, dude. But I just want to clarify that. I want people to come in with different of opinion. Not on everything, of course. They don't be a contrarian for the sake of it, but it's good to have differences.
Yeah, Nate liked Andor, and I thought it was boring and stupid.
Yeah, exactly. No, literally, exactly. Great example. Olaf Van S for €2 says Tokyo listens to the audience. Hollywood is deaf to it. Hollywood's like that's what Hollywood's doing. Just la la la, not listening, fingers in the ears. Or more importantly, a greater example of that now would be this. Just, burning down. This is fine. This is fine. Yeah, nah, this is fine.
Yep, keep putting out the message.
Got to get that message. Jason Webster, Takashi Yamazaki did it. So this release of Godzilla -1 replicates the 1954 original. After all, it was produced to celebrate the Godzilla's 70th anniversary. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And again, we've got Shum here has been a member for 21 months. Thank you so much, my dude. Do appreciate that. We salute you for being a member. Jason Webster for $2 says, Merry Christmas, Mr. H. Thank you so much. And Doug VA Loves Horror for $1.99 says, have a Snickers Oh dear, oh dear.
Tom is just very, very passionate about his opinions, and we accept him.
Yeah, and we appreciate it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Zodlander 50, whatever this is. I don't really know what this is. Something.
Spherisch Krona.
Oh, right. Okay. It says reverse the roles between Joker and Harley any way you want. The Joker character is supposed to be unpredictable horror, in my opinion. Yes, absolutely. Right. Let's shuffle on now to a topic which kind of slid in on. Well, no, actually, you've got Go Culture. So let's talk about this. So, I don't know if anyone else has seen this. I know me and Culture have, but there was a new South Park special released called Not Suitable for Children. Tom, let's get your thoughts first then, I think, actually, because I don't know your thoughts on this. What do you think?
Well, South Park is my favorite show of all time, so I was surprised to find out they just dropped another special the other day without any fanfare whatsoever. Not one advertisement. And I usually see all the advertisements on the South Park Twitter and all that stuff. So I don't know what happened there, if they even dropped one there. I even had to go digging for it on my Amazon Prime account because I have Paramount Plus through there. At the end of the day, it's not one of their best specials. It was okay. It had some moments. I felt like it was really disappointing follow-up to the Disney one because there's some synergy they could have had with the fact that OnlyFans isn't suitable for kids. Well, no, Disney isn't suitable for kids anymore either. Yeah. But overall, I mean, it was a fun little take on it. I think I would have, honestly, I think it would have been better had they released this one first, then the Panderverse leading into that. Because I think I would have liked this episode a bit more had I seen it before the Panderverse. Because that was one of those seminal moments in South Park that will always stand out. I mean, there's like at least 20 episodes that kind of stand above the rest, and that one definitely falls into that. So it's not fair to this episode to follow that up. But other than that, it's just another typical South Park take on the whole OnlyFans and how influencers influence kids and TikTok generation and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was pretty good. All right, it was all right for the most part.
I had such a good time with it. I loved it. I laughed out loud quite a lot.
Yeah.
Quite a lot. And the Lonely Fans business, I've said this before on this
podcast. The last 20 minutes was probably better than the first, but yeah,
I've said this before on this podcast, and I'll say it again. I sincerely hope none of you are signed up to any Lonely Fans account. If you are, you quite literally are destroying the dating marketplace for everyone, because you artificially inflate women's egos that have no right thinking they are as high and mighty as they are, and you literally destroy dating for men. Yeah. Stop simping. If you want to beat your bishop, get online, just go on Pornhub or something. You don't need to simp for these dumb bitches. Okay, get off Lonely Fans. You are a lonely fan. It's just sad. It's pathetic. Stop it.
I have a confession, Nate.
Fucking get off in now.
I have signed up to OnlyFans twice.
I thought he was going to tell us he had an OnlyFans. This is a little different.
But the only reason I did is because somebody told me that somebody that I knew personally was on there, and I just
Oh,
got
okay,
on
that's
there to
kinda
see if
funny
it was
then.
actually them,
All right.
and it turned out it was them. And then of course I canceled. But
Well, okay, that's kind of funny. All right, yeah, I get that. Fine, but I loved it. I thought it was really, really good, and I'm so sick of seeing this stupid fucking Prime thing around as well. Like it, the drink Prime by Logan Paul and KSI. I hate it. I think it's disgusting. It probably doesn't even hydrate you because it's got such a high quantity of vitamins and minerals. Your body will highly likely just excrete them all within such a short space of time. It's absurd. And I saw it in a clothing store the other day. A clothing store. And I'm like, what the fuck is it doing here? So it's infiltrated everything. And Logan Paul is such a scumbag as well.
yeah,
You should look it up. He bought a pig and he had to surrender the pig because it was like close to dying because he just wasn't looking after it. He is, close your ears, kids. He's a cunt through and through.
piece of shit.
And he should, like, anyone that does anything like that to animals is the worst of the worst.
Yeah,
Like animals that they're so sweet and innocent that you know, and pigs have the intelligence of dogs.
Yep.
So it's the worst. So I enjoyed them poking fun at these people. I liked it a lot, and I just thought it was a
That might
very
have been
funny
part of my
episode.
problem is I don't follow shit like Logan Paul. Like I'm
I don't
aware
follow
of
him.
them,
Just sort
but
of
like
tangentially
that
it's
thing that
come
you
up,
just said
yeah.
about the whole drink, I had no idea. Like, see, that's my
Did you
point. So that
not?
might be, yeah, that's
Ah,
why this episode kind of fell off the
right.
phone. I don't follow any of that kind of trending type shit at all. Like,
You
I
should
should
have
be able to
okay.
pick Logan Paul out of a fucking lineup.
You should have seen my
Right.
thumbnail on my video, Tom, with my review.
Well, yeah,
I don't want to
Culture,
steal your review.
You
your
didn't see
thoughts
my
then,
review?
buddy.
No,
I barely
honestly,
slept, man.
I have to tell you, I love the episode, but I had the same problems with it that Tom did. I still think they're going to have they have a lot to do to add to the second part of the Pandaverse, which is what I'm really excited for. But as a whole, this episode held together very well. It had brilliant social commentary on two different levels about two different important things, which seems to be just prime South Park. And yeah, they did destroy the whole influencer culture garbage and OF simultaneously. It was glorious. Basically preaching that social media is nothing more than essentially mindlessness for the masses, via like multiple dopamine hits or whatever other mechanisms they utilize, mostly your short attention span. Things that are rewarded the most for producing and consuming are of the lowest common denominator, and they don't really ask you to think very, very critically about what it is that you are looking at or imbibing. I loved the way the episode was structured. I think the fact that it also pointed out some of the ills around the being very lonely with fans, is basically dominated by women because men are so simple. Don't be simple, please. I will give you $1 not to be simple. I would fund a support group if I could to keep people away from stuff like that, because really you're being a sugar daddy without any sugar.
Yeah.
So don't do that. You're just daddy.
Yeah,
at that
you're
point.
not getting any pussy juice. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Just stop.
No, but I also love the subtleness of how that was kind of Trey and Matt's way of pointing out that there is still a difference here, right?
Yeah.
When as soon as Randy's wife, I always forget her damn name. Sharon, thank you, Culture. As soon as Sharon starts hers up and she's instantly successful, I love how it's showing the dichotomy of men are not valued in the way that women are when it comes to this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And in this society, that's kind of where Randy's coming from. He's coming from this place of, well, everybody should just accept me because, and that's kind of the whole woke mentality, right? Like everybody just should accept you. And, he's just oblivious to everything going on around him, which is great. But I mean, that to me was the highlight of the episode. But that was just probably because I was just not so up to snuff with the other influencer part, which is weird.
Yeah.
I know, I get it. But like to me, the OnlyFans stuff was really where it kind of stood out in the whole, like, I just want to find out how to beat my wife on OnlyFans, like.
It was so good. And here's, the fact that the FBI comes running in and they're trying to figure out who it is that's causing all the chaos that's happening with the OF and the influencers and everything.
See, and this is where I thought they would combine it with Disney.
It would have been perfect.
That's
That
what
would have been
I
a
thought.
great. But really, they pointed the finger back at Big Tech, which we would all agree is actually who's making all of this baloney sausage happen. So there you go.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. A lot. I thought it was very funny. But yeah,
I didn't
like
even
I've said
know anything about it.
Go watch
The
it.
miners bit was kind of funny too. I got it, as cheap as it was.
Well, I appreciated
the
it.
miners. Yeah.
Well, what I appreciated is because they didn't have to do anything questionable, right? They kind of conveyed the message with those old pictures.
Those poor
Yeah,
miners.
Although I will say I was very uncomfortable looking at Randy's peen for the better part of the episode. Please don't.
Trust me, it's not a big deal, Randy.
That was funny. Oh, that was a good episode. I enjoyed it. Well, not episode now, the specials. But yeah, you should watch it, Nick. You'll have a good time with it, mate.
Yeah, I'll probably tonight.
Don't simp on lonely fans. Ladies and gents, do better. Honestly, do better.
Wow, I thought you were lecturing Nick specifically. I was going to say bravo, but I guess not.
It's sort of like
he just went on to have a look and then buggered off.
Yeah, it's sort of like going to the strip club and paying for a lap dance. It's like, what a waste of money,
So I went to a strip club once, years and years and years ago, and I went because it was my friend's birthday and he wanted to go. And so I went in there, and it's the most just like depraved, soulless place.
Most of them are kind of depressing. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I was just sat there and they were like, "Oh, do you want to?" I'm like, "No, mate, I'm good. Like, I'll just have another beer. This is just pathetic."
I've been multiple times back in my younger days. We used to go all the time, but the reason people went there was because it was the only place that would be open after 2 a.m. after all the bars and clubs closed. So everybody would go to the strip club.
There's a lot of them are 24 hours here.
Yeah. So,
well, I have a funny one real quick. My cousin's bachelor party, we went to there's only a spattering of strip clubs within a 30-40 mile radius of where I live. So we were hitting whatever ones we could. And the one we got to, it was so sad because they were advertising all night long that this big, famous, supposed Vegas stripper was supposed to be there. Right. So like all night long, they kept broadcasting this. So one of the members of the group was like, well, we want to stick around and see who this big deal is. She comes out and her fucking stretch marks got stretch marks. She looks like a grandma. It's like none of the pictures on any of the posters are nearly representative of what's like. Okay, this is sad. And we all got up and left like within 2 seconds. It was like, this was bad. We like felt bad for her. We're like, oh man.
All right. Well, there you go. There you go, guys. Lonely fans, terrible influences, stripping. It's all here on the HCast. Let's get us some super chats quickly. So Horseradish Power dropped in £5. Says back from Aquaman 2. ESG aside, it was enjoyable. At least it made sense and I didn't fall asleep. And no machete editing like with the Marvels. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I wonder if they went back to an earlier cut.
Machete editing? Yeah. You could obviously tell that Amber Heard scenes were trimmed to the bare bones, but I think that they were relatively subtle about their editing. I think that they had been successful because the movie is perfectly fine, like it flows good and everything. You're not watching a butchery. I agree with Tom. I think that they probably just went back to the version from 2 regimes ago that doesn't have any of the reshoots, that didn't have any Batman or anything like that. I think this is the version that probably tested the best of them all, and that's the one before they started mucking with it.
We've got Culture Casino in black and white now, so that's fun. Shum drops in $2, says all my OnlyFans money goes to YouTube subs. Should I stop? No, because we're infinitely better entertainment and we actually engage with you for starters. Whereas if you do it on an OnlyFans person, generally speaking, they have like a bloke that they pay to reply to you. Apparently, That's come out on some podcasts I've watched, which is just disgusting. Anyway, Culture, you need to disappear, chap, don't you? So spend some time promoting some shiz.
Sure. Do check out my channel. I am at Culture Casino everywhere. You can find me there and on social media. You don't have to challenge yourself to find me. And do check it out because I did do a South Pack review. I'm very proud of, amongst other things. And my Wonka review is getting clipped by YouTube for some reason because they think it's related to online gambling. Okay. Anyway, I had a lot of fun. It was been an incredible year. I hope you guys have a great Christmas if that's something you celebrate. And we will be back here on Monday, or at least I will be. I don't know about you, but we hope you will be. And on that note, I'm going to see Aquaman minus fun. I'll see you guys later.
Way, see you, dude.
Take care.
So Batman, brilliant. Drops in $5, says it's easier to turn a color movie to black and white than the other way around. Don't believe me, or do believe me, sorry. Look up It's a Wonderful Life in Color. It's so robotic and fake. Tom, anything to say on this? I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think the black and white film shot back then, when they were shot in black and white, yeah.
Right.
Probably would be harder. But if you shot one in black and white today and it'd probably not be that difficult of a thing to do.
Honestly, with the way computers are now, you can colorize stuff fairly well, but I don't agree with it. I just think you should show it as it was shot. The cinematographer shot it a certain way as it is. I mean, this thing, I'm not trying to cut down anybody who's excited about the Godzilla thing. My whole problem was just people trying to change my mind about it. It's like, no, this is the way I fucking feel about it. It's like, if I have the choice between watching something in color and black and white, if it was shot in color, I want to watch it in color. Right? That's the way it was shot because it's lit that way. Look, and I'm not trying to act all pretentious or anything like that. My point is I understand a little bit about how film is shot, how lighting is done, and it's a completely different animal when you go between black and white and color. At least they're going back with this version, and they're going frame by frame or shot by shot or whatever they're doing to try and make it look like it's actually shot in black and white. Cool. But I know for a fact, like things like Logan and the Snyder crap that he always does is just literally just a black and white filter over the movie. And it's like, I could have done that. Like, it's just, to me, it's just, yeah, cool. It's cool. Yeah. But is it worth wasting an entire new release of the movie on? I don't know about that. Cause they did was like Logan and stuff. It was like, really?
Yeah. I think this one's slightly different just because of.
I agree. Of all the ones they're doing, this probably makes the most sense. For a gimmick, for a little whatever, cool. But and I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't wind up on the Blu-ray, guys. So I wouldn't worry about that either. So
I think it'll be a special edition Blu-ray. I mean, Logan, for instance, it's not in black and white on the regular Blu-ray, but there's a special edition release.
You got to buy the other one.
Yeah.
Horse Radish Pad drops in with £2. Says I can make OnlyFans pics with AI. Why would I need OnlyFans?
Right.
Yeah, that's been going around now. Is that there are literally AI OnlyFans girls, and they're making like 10 grand a week. It's fucking insane what simps will do. Stop giving hoes your money. Find a wife.
Half the problem is the women, though. And I will say
the men as well, because the men are enabling the women. If the men didn't buy the stuff, the women would have no market. Right? So it's absolutely the men. And they're not men. They're being pussies. Like, it's easy to... The women are just taking advantage of the men that are being pussies. So the women are seeing, a gap in a market, and they're filling it. But if there was no market, there'd be nothing for them to fill. Right, so it's the men that are doing it.
Yeah,
it's absolutely the men.
I had a girl one time tell me how she was the prize in the relationship and how she should be put on this pedestal and all this. I told her to fuck off real quick.
The thing is, the thing is that women want to be treated like a princess, and I get that, right?
But then they don't do what
a princess. You must treat me like a fucking prince or a king. It's a two-way street. I will treat you like a princess when you treat me like your king and you act like a princess. You don't get treated like one when you don't act like one. You want to flash your tits in your ass about on fucking Instagram? You're not a princess. Right? harsh wake up call, but you're not a fucking princess if you do that, and you're not worth being treated like one either. It's
Yep.
different if you're at the beach and there's a photo at the beach and it's contextual. But if you're just flashing your tits and your ass around on Instagram, you are not a princess.
Or
You want me to pay for the
Facebook
first
or-
date? You want me to pay for the first date? Act like a lady. Otherwise, you're tantamount to a prostitute because I'm buying your time. Just like every other guy that's buying your time in probably the same week that you're dating multiple men. It's a
Yeah.
fucking joke. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's my rant about the dating marketplace. Maybe we should do a date cast.
Yeah.
New
The next-
podcast.
Didn't I expect you to do
Well, I'm going
that?
to share
Well,
you a tweet here, Nate, that you might find interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh god, here we go.
I was just saying. Then they
Oh, no, I'm not
expect
gonna
all
play it.
that. I was just saying. Then they expect all that while they're talking to like 5 other dudes, banging 3 of them. All this crap behind your back. Shaking
you
their
gotta
ass.
Can
out
you
there,
share
and
this?
it's
Because
like, what?
I want to let's watch this with everyone.
Okay, okay. I didn't know if you wanted to really get into it right now, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of
let's
what
do
I
it.
thought
Have a
was
look.
funny. But look, this is basically just a regular chick getting a taste of what it's like to be with a regular, or one of these woke chicks getting to see what it's like to be with a regular old dude.
Guys, I went on a date this week and I felt the feminism leaving my body. I live on the east side of LA, and if you don't know what that means, it's sort of like the artsier part of LA. It's people say it's like Brooklyn and New York. So I go on dates with a lot of men and women who live over here. There's always a negotiation about who pays, and that's great. I like to pay for people, all that. But what I will say is that I sort of fell into going on a date with the most guy I've ever been on a date with.
Yeah,
From
because you won't respect anyone else. So, this is the thing, right? So someone says in the chat, Mr. H doesn't understand women are ran through. No, I do understand that. I'm talking about being a princess. You want to be treated like one. You have to be one. I'm not talking about people that have got a body count higher than the fucking Mount Everest, or I'm not talking about them. And this woman here, she's talking about going on a date with a guy's guy. Yeah, because you're not going to respect anyone else, right? The men that you actually say that you like, the men that you're sort of promoting and things like this, like, feminism this, feminism that, you're not going to respect those fucking men. You're never going to respect those men, never in a million years, because they're just twinky little simps. That you're not going to respect a man like that. Women want men to be leaders, but yet they don't want to follow. You have to follow as well if you want a leader. You want someone that's masculine. Be prepared to humble yourself to that as well, because that is important.
It gets better.
Anyway,
no, I'm just saying, yeah.
On a date with, and he's from West, Santa Monica. He's a bro, right? A guy's guy is usually not my type. I cannot remember the last time that I went on a date with a straight bros bro. You know what I'm saying? But it befell me. It befell me in an organic fashion. So I'm on this date with this guy, and the thing about a guy's guy is he's putting his card down. He's paying for everything, and I really it sort of activated something feral in me. I'm not gonna lie. We went to another bar, and he was gonna go to the bathroom. So I was getting prepared to pay for our drinks because he's been paying all night. Of course, I'm gonna pay for the next round. But as he's going to leave for the bathroom, he turns to me and he hands me his credit card. And he goes, "Here's my card. Get us whatever."
Just imagine if this guy opened a door for her.
Yeah.
But this is this is the thing, right?
This is why I was saying it's half women's fault. They pushed this shit into society.
Yeah, absolutely. But then also men decided rather than men.
Look,
men
are simple creatures. We will do whatever the fuck it takes to get pussy, Nate, and you know it. Come on.
but being a pussy doesn't get you pussy. Yeah. That's the thing.
I'm not going to disagree with you there.
Doesn't get you pussy.
You just have a lot of guys who go, what do I have to do? And then they look at this shit and you see a bunch of screaming whales going out there saying, I want a sensitive, feminine man. So that's what they try to emulate, right?
No one's going to respect that. No one respects that at all. No one. Oh my God. Anyway, sorry, we turned this into a little dating section on the podcast. Yeah.
I love the organic thing. She's like, dude, he made you wet. Okay, we get it. Because he actually showed you some attention and he wasn't a little soy bitch.
Yeah, because you can something feral and primal. Yeah, obviously. obviously, because women don't actually want beta male. Just they don't want that. They don't want it. They don't want it. They want someone that can actually protect them and actually look after them in multiple ways. So yeah, they're seeing the financial element. They're like, oh, that can look after me. Oh yeah, they're seeing the he's a bit of a bro, so probably a bit of a workout dude as well. Oh, so you actually look after me in that respect as well. I will say as well, like, you know, this whole aspect of paying on a first date, that annoys me. I think it's always important. I think as a bloke, as a gentleman, you should always pay on the first date. But if someone doesn't offer to split, I'd always just fuck them off straight away, because it's the gesture of offering to split that shows me a certain element of respect. Like, I'll always pay regardless. If no one offers to split with me and I've paid, like, I'll never see them again. They can just fuck off. I don't care. But if you offer to split with me, I'm still going to pay. But if you offer, then that shows that you're not just there to be wined and dined, right?
Yeah.
Because again, otherwise you're basically just, I'm buying your time. You're basically a prostitute. You're an escort at that point, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's massively important. So anyway, we're sort of getting well out of the realms of this. Good times, guys. Good times. Anyway, Big Al Games drops in with £5. Says, "Yo, Mr. H, what would you like to see in the Godzilla -1 sequel, if one is to be made? Maybe a Godzilla Raids Again remake." Yeah, I'd like them to, in the way that they brought Godzilla around, there's very easy explanation to explore more of Toho's kaiju. So I'd like them to do that, actually. That's what I would, and it works. It works in the universe that they've established for -1. So that. But I'd also like them to try to do it in a way which holds true to how good -1 was with the human element. Because if they don't do that, then it's a failure in my eyes. Has to have the human element as well. Horseradish Power says, "If you don't respect, who else will respect you?" Yep, true. Monk Vodka drops in with £5. Says, "Merry Christmas, gents. Hope you have a great time. Also, hope that Toho releases both versions of Godzilla -1 on Blu-ray. Would love to have it, as would I." And Tom Working for $2 says, "Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom of Lost Potential." Oh, and the Kingdom of Lost Potential. Yeah, I like that. That's funny. I wouldn't know just yet, but we shall see. Anyway, sorry about that sort of weird off kilter. It was topical to Lonely fans, all right?
Yeah.
Don't hate me too much.
It transitioned into that from a topic we were speaking about.
Yeah. Dating podcast coming soon. Let me know if you want me to just rant about society. I'll do it. I don't care. I'll do it. Anyway, shuffling on. Culture with his intros. It's a shame he's not here. That was great. I love that. Do you know about this, Nick? You're the gamer.
I have not heard about this, but I'm actually halfway through God of War Ragnarok. The first 30 minutes of that game is epic, like cinematic epicness. So good. I love this series. But I have not seen or heard anything about this right here, so this will be interesting.
Well, okay. Well, yeah. I'll just cut straight to the chase then, basically. So he says, "I don't want to see characters grow." This is the original creator. They did the first game and its sequel, right? "I don't want to see these characters grow. I don't like the direction that God of War is going in at all. It's not his cup of tea." Although he does say someone needs to be able to tell these people no sometimes and say, "We love that you're arty. We love that you're taking stuff from your personal life, but somebody needs to step up there and go, you need to be able to do all of that within the pen, within the fence we've put up. And if you step outside the fence, that electric collar is going to get you. You need to do all that within the pen that says this is what God of War is." He's basically saying, much like the Joker, the People's Joker, they're injecting themselves into the game, and it's not the same. It's not the same character.
Yeah.
I've not played it, so I don't know. I want your thoughts.
So I can respect what he's saying here, and I agree with him to a certain extent. But the character of Kratos in the new God of War series, where it's all about Valhalla and Norse lore and all that sort of stuff, he's a different character. It's sort of like you have Anakin Skywalker in the prequels, and in the OT trilogy, you have Darth Vader. They're two different characters, but they're the same person. Same thing with God of War. You got Kratos, who was all about the Greek mythology during that whole time. That was when, you know, he was younger and stuff. Now he's in a completely different part of the world, and he got married. He had a son, and now he's, you know, dealing with all the Norse gods and stuff. And so it is a completely different character. And for me personally, I love it. I love the new God of War series, and I love the old God of War games. And I love the character that Kratos was in there. In these new ones, there's a lot of references and talk about stuff that happened in those old games. Nice callbacks. I'm loving the games, the new God of War series. And I don't know. He obviously does it, you know, but he's the creator. You know, he didn't create Kratos to become what Kratos has become, you know, but it's also a very lucrative IP for them, and they want to keep it going and keep making money, you know, so it kind of makes sense in the direction they took him in.
Do you not think they're getting away from what it was, though, or not?
Originally?
Yeah.
No, that's the aspect I can understand and agree with what he's saying. It's completely.
I mean, his skin is literally stained with his family's ashes.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
yeah, and it still is, you know, even in the new games, you know, he's just a older, more grizzled. You know, it's sort of like, you know, Wolverine in the first X-Men movie versus Wolverine in Logan. You know, it's just it's a different character at that point. The character's definitely grown. You know, I personally don't have an issue with it. I like the direction that they're taking the character in. There wasn't really a whole lot more they could do in the Greek mythology world, because he killed everybody. You know, Zeus is dead. I mean, they could resurrect them all or do a reboot, you know, or a remake, you know, but instead of doing that, they moved on and they expanded the God of War world, and they moved him into another mythology. And you know, when I first heard about it, I was kind of like, but when I played it, it was actually a good story. And the ending has I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that hasn't played it. The ending has a very crazy, unique twist to it that leads into the second game that I'm playing right now. I think it's a great story. I'm enjoying it. But again, I understand where he's coming from, and I can appreciate what he's saying there. But for me, as just a gamer and just playing the game, I'm in it, and I don't have any issues with what they're doing.
Well, I mean, I can't comment on. I've not played it, so I don't know. But it's just interesting, isn't it, that the creator's coming out going, "Yep, not happy, not good, not good." He does say that he liked the 2018s, so the first one of these new games, but he just doesn't like the sequel for some. So, what from the sequel would he not like?
I don't know. Kratos does take a little bit more of a back seat in this sequel to his son, who plays a lot bigger role in the second game, but there's a reason behind that. If you play the game and understand the story that they're telling, there's a reason why his son is taking more of a, you know, bigger, you know, he takes up a bigger part of the story. You actually play as his son in sections of the game, you know, when in the first one, you didn't at all. You were Kratos the entire game from start to finish. And he was just kind of like a tag along. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, Anyone else have anything to say to this? Because I don't really. I mean, I've not played the games. I can only look at it.
And neither have I. So I defer to Nick on this one.
Is it on the Sega Mega Drive?
Exactly. I mean, if it was, I could chime in.
Yeah, no, not until May of this next year. Then they got a release of it.
Is someone working on a port of it? Because that actually happens. You have like people that do port stuff for the Sega Mega Drive because it has such a big active fan community.
Yeah, it's an exclusive PlayStation IP. It's not on PC. It's not on any other consoles. They might have other ports, but if they do, it's fan done. I haven't heard anything about it, but it's a great series. I love the God of War series. I've been playing it since the very first game dropped on PS3, I think, or PS2. I can't remember.
I think it's PS2. The first one was on, or
it might have been. It was so long ago.
I think they remade it for the PS3, if memory serves.
It might be right.
Yeah, I think so. Well, there you go. There you have it. Just sort of chuck that one in there. We've got some super chats to get to. So Matt Cave Gaming for $10 says, there you go. My wife and I don't put up with each other's crap. I think that's what is missing from too many couples. Absolutely love her more for that. We both know we suck at times. Great show as always, Mr. Age. Yeah, I mean, no one can give 100% each time. And when you're a partnership, you know, if you come home after a long day and you're running at, say, 60%, you know, it's on your partner to put in that extra 40% to lift you up a bit. It's a give and take, right? It's transactional.
Not nag you and push you down even more.
Yeah. I mean, life's just become too disposable, right? Like nothing in our society is built to last these days. Your phone, gone in a year. Your laptop, gone in 2 years. Nothing is built to last. Everything is disposable. And it's the same with these relationships. In this day and age, no one is thinking about the long term because at the push of a button on your phone, you could find someone like that. And so that's what's missing, I think, from society, unfortunately, is the desire to have longevity with someone and that beauty of growing with someone as opposed to just disposable, chucking them away. Anyway, there you go. Horseradish Power for £5 says princesses speak multiple languages, play instruments, have all manner of talents. These women don't measure up. Give me a real princess any day. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean literally, just it means act like one. You know, women want a gentleman and yet they don't act like ladies. I guess that's the best comparison. That's the best example, right?
Yeah, don't act like whores, ladies.
Yeah. To put it bluntly, don't have a body count higher than Mount Everest, and don't entertain loads of bloody men all at the same time.
And I'm not trying to blame women on the whole thing either. Men play their own part. I mean, that's why we're pathetic and we fall in line with some of those stupid things. I'm not saying we as in the collective here. I mean, just men as a generalization. But it's becoming a problem. It's going to be a problem in the future. We're already hearing reports. Yeah, I was gonna say we're already hearing reports where people don't want to work with women in certain environments and stuff because they're afraid of being Me Too'd. A lot of men are afraid of asking women out, and this is where OnlyFans is taking an uptick because men just see that as an easier alternative to dealing with a real woman. In some cases, it's sad, and then you got the other ones that are just delusional.
Melina says men on this panel have some really terrible tasting women to be meeting all of these horrible women. So
we didn't say we know horrible women.
Yeah, so no, I mean, I'm speaking generally just about the dating marketplace. So that's important as a distinction. Right. I can observe the dating marketplace without interacting with it. So my observation of the dating marketplace and just general discussions with people, that's the observation that's there, right? Is that, I mean, the majority is from that. Yes, it's a generalization. We're not speaking on.
Yeah.
The generalization is unfortunately what we're saying, and that is the majority, right? Like that is just unfortunately what it is.
But we're starting to see a lot of people crack out of it, right? Like that was the whole point of that video. I've seen a lot of videos where you have women go like, "I was woke, and this women libs thing was not, what I thought it was all cracked up to be," kind of thing. Yeah. So it's a matter of like whatever the fourth, fifth wave of feminism is the problem, basically.
Yeah,
I don't have a issue or terrible. What did she say? Take or
taste in
take.
women.
I have a terrible pick in women. I
Well, that's because the
terrible
marketplace is
people.
washed out with them.
Yeah,
right? That's the thing, right?
Yeah,
Finding
I have great taste.
you can have good taste in women, but when the marketplace is filled with degenerate versions of what you prefer in a woman, then the unfortunate nature is you're going to come across a higher fraction of the degenerates than you would the positives.
Yeah,
because there's more of them, right? It's like fishing for a lobster in a sea of salmon.
Yeah,
you're going to have to go through a lot of salmon to pick up your lobster, right? That's probably the best example of it. We're actually dropped in $2. Says Merry Christmas to all. Welcome Yule, I think.
It's the first day of Yule.
Yeah, exactly.
Many Dragon Many Dragon 5. But remember, it's all good. Remember, for 2 months says the thing with God of War is Kratos. Kratos' changes organic growth of the character. Kratos is actually trying to be a better person than what he was. I've got no idea, honestly. It was just, hey, here's the story. Let's chit chat about it. And I know that Nick is the gamer on the panel, so that's why I wanted to bring it up. But again, difference of opinions. I don't even know, right? Like it's interesting stuff.
No, I agree with what he's saying there, though, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Big Al Games for £5 says, to be fair, there's been 6 Gears of War games. Oh, God of War. Sorry, not Gears of War. I always GOW. I'm like Gears of War. God of War games set in Greek mythology, so there's plenty of rage-induced Kratos out there already.
Yeah. They did. And 2
Leo,
of them were on the PlayStation, the PSP, the mobile.
Oh, were they? Oh, interesting. That was short-lived, wasn't it? Leo drops in $5. Says Merry Christmas to all. Also, fully support Datecast with Mr. H. God, I don't know if I could get enough women
like Love Line
chat with me.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you could. Or you could also do call-ins and stuff too.
Oh God, no, that'd be a pain in the ass.
Turn yourself into a therapist.
No, I don't want to do that. But it would be.
That's the only thing with that. Yeah.
It would be interesting. I mean, Melina drops in, says, I used to meet a lot of terrible men, and then I changed my standards. Then I met the man who eventually became my husband. So it worked. But again, you've got to remember now, again, my standards are high.
Yeah.
But they're also becoming unreasonably high in what the marketplace offers, if that makes sense.
A lot of women have that same problem too with their standards.
Yeah, so they're almost becoming unachievable because
I would say the women actually have the bigger problem there, because most of the women that I have met my age that are still single, they are single because basically they price themselves out of the market with their demands, essentially.
Well, I'll explain that quite easily then. So women control access to sex, right? Men will, generally speaking, sleep with women that are on an attractive scale that they wouldn't wife up, right? So women will be sleeping, generally speaking, with men of a higher standard of attractiveness than what they are, right? And so that gets a false sense of reality in their mind for what what is on their level. What you are worth. You are worth your league. You are worth the level of what someone will marry you, basically, not sleep with you as a woman. So women, generally speaking, will be like, yep, cool, that's a Chad, super attractive, I'll sleep with him. But that guy will never wife you. And so they then get an inflated sense of ego. And then also women's standards for a man is generally very, very high and actually quite unreasonable. So must be 6 foot. Fuck it. You wouldn't
That's
even
the
know.
point that I was going
and
to
hypocritical as well. Yeah.
Because
the
women
nonsense.
that I know who are still single, there's nothing wrong with them, but basically that's what I mean, that they in a sense price themselves out of the market, because they like, okay, I want a man who is this, and then they basically describe Christian Grey, and then a couple of them I have
while looking like Lizzo.
Yeah.
but kind of, because that's kind of like what I mean. Because I've told a couple of them, okay, now let's just assume for a second that this man that you describe, that he exists, which he doesn't, but let's for a second assume that he exists. What the hell do you have to offer such a man? Why would he go with you? Because you have now.
So that's the other thing.
Because you are asking for a man that is everything that you want, but you have nothing to offer him. Because that's the other thing. And that's kind of like the thing that this is like my advice. You need to find someone that complements you, which also means you have to complement them. And if you don't complement each other, there ain't no match.
Well, so that's the other thing, is that, you know, we live in a society now where it's a very self-absorbed, narcissistic approach to dating as well, right? So it's, well, I want this and I want that. Okay, that's fine, right? But if you were to find that, have you ever thought or considered to yourself what you actually bring to the table? What is it that you're actually offering? Like a lot of it's nothing. I mean, modern day, you know, I can talk from a UK perspective, right? Like, I can cook, and if you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, I can cook very well, right? I mean, I never made them before. I made 3 gigantic stolons last week, or at the weekend just gone, and I can make very, very good meals. Now, would I want my wife to cook for me? Yes, absolutely. Do I want to be doing all the cooking as well as providing financially? Fuck no.
Yeah.
Because that's too much for me to deal with, right? I've got enough on my plate. But even just that very tiny little ask, as what I would deem to be a very basic requirement as a human being, the ability to be able to feed yourself, is almost nigh on, is too much to ask. It's too much to ask in this day and age, right? Because, you know, the marketplace in the UK, for the dating marketplace in the UK anyway, women don't know how to feed themselves. They don't know how to cook properly. And it's too traditional. And then you got all these stupid TikToks running around. TikTok has fucking destroyed everything. Oh. These TikToks running around of these childless cat women going, oh, there's like, oh, it's like a mock scenario of they're about to get a ring on their finger and their life flashes before their eyes. And they're like, oh, he's going to make me do the laundry. Oh, he's going to make me cook. Oh, he's going to make me clean. Bitch, you are fucking doing those things for yourself, by yourself anyway. The difference is you'd be entering into a transactional position where you're loved, you're protected, you're adored, and you're doing that for a person that is looking after you financially. And that is deemed to be repugnant and repulsive nowadays. Yeah. Fuck off. You'd rather work for a boss, a manager that hates you and would replace you in a second when you piss them off, than work, because how much work is it realistically, for your husband? Fucking what a joke. What a joke. Honestly. And people see that as like a form of a trap. They're like, I'm being controlled. It's like, no, of course it's not. You know, why would you not prefer to work for your husband that's going to actually protect you and look after you in life, someone that actually cares for you, than your boss that doesn't give a fuck?
Right.
Like, your money's worthless to a guy. They don't care about your money.
Nope.
Anyway.
Well, and I mean, just to kind of sum it all, look, men and women have always been fundamentally different. We've never been able to understand each other. That's been one steadfast thing since the beginning of
women don't know what men want.
Time.
That's huge.
Exactly.
They don't know anything.
They overcomplicate what men want too. That's the other problem. But that being said, that's what makes us work so well together. And you're taking, and this is my problem with the whole situation. You're taking what has been ostensibly, you know, how many years of basic, what you would consider, thousands upon even maybe even tens of thousands of years where we've had basic domestic relationships, right? To where we've come up with this formula that has worked for a long time. And now people are trying to disrupt that formula. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, there wasn't certain points where women shouldn't have been allowed to do certain things. We've rectified those things. But you've got like this situation over at Disney right now where you've got 9,000 women or whatever who are claiming to be underpaid compared to men. And guess what? I had a couple people reach out to me, one animator, and specifically, she said I could even use her story. She agreed with my assessment that a lot of it boils down to women just don't know how to negotiate.
Mm.
And a lot of times you're just going to get paid whatever they're willing to pay you if you don't negotiate for what you're worth. Because to quote the great Robert Murray Burnett, you never get what you're worth. You only get what you negotiate for. And if there is a discrepancy, that's probably the biggest reason why. And because she told me this story, and basically they were talking about their salaries, and they ranged from like $850 a week, which was the lowest for the woman animator, to like $1,050 to the highest animator. And then a guy interjects into the conversation, and he's like, "Well, I'm only making like $1,052. I should have negotiated for a better contract," and then walks away.
Mm.
And she's like, right there was basically the whole point of the conversation, was that these women didn't understand how to, or didn't realize that they should negotiate for a better contract. And again, that's up to the dads and moms to teach their daughters. You got to teach them that this is what you got to do in the world. I'm sure Andre, raising a daughter, that's probably something you'll want to instill in her, is to always negotiate.
Oh, absolutely.
Bringing it back to movies there. I like it. Bringing it back to movies there, Tom. Excellent. So real quick before we shuffle on, Matt Cave Gaming for $5 says, to quote Rocky, she's got gaps. I've got gaps. Together we fill gaps. Yeah. Should
take it to the zoo.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, ladies and gents, let's shuffle on to. I'm trying to find out. Oh, okay, it's this one. Sorry, this thinger here.
Who's everybody?
So, a holiday period is not looking so great at all. In fact, these are all Warner Brothers movies as well, by the looks of things. And it's looking really, 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 really bad. So, yeah, not good. And they're going to make so many excuses for this. The bloody scamdemic, strikes, whatever. I mean, they say here, been battered by double strikes. Sure, whatever. That doesn't affect the movies that are being released now, though. Like, that's just you delaying movie releases. It's not hasn't actually been. That's you delaying them, for goodness sake. But anyway, so Warner Brothers has now got three potential $100 million grossing movies. First weekend or overall? Because it's not definitely going to be first weekend. Do you think all three combined could hit $100 million? Maybe. Although Wonka has actually been doing okay. It has been doing okay. So it's not going to do great, obviously. Projections are not that great at all. Warner's three big picks are obviously Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, Wonka, The Color Purple. And they say substantial amount of spillover business into the new year. 2024 projected to drop by 10%. So we had reports that it hit like $8 billion this year in box office. It's going to drop by 10% next year as well. So closer to $7 billion, which is down from what was the all-time high 2018, 2019 of like $16 billion or something insane like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So how bad is that? That's terrible. Yeah, Warner's remained committed to holding its Christmas dates. They should, to be fair, but they've asked exhibition for extra promotion on their end. So that's interesting. MGM's got a World War II for all three of them.
All three of them?
Yeah. Literally all three of them. Ask an exhibition for extra
If I was
promotion
Warner right now, I'd be more worried about Wonka and Color Purple than I would be Aquaman.
You'd be worried about Wonka and Color Purple more.
I'd be worried about making them money, making them profitable.
Right.
Focused on them. I mean,
exactly. Thank you. Focused on them. Yeah.
Aquaman, you can just write off right away. But the other two, you want to focus on to try to squeeze out everything you can. They don't have to be causes for worry per se.
Yeah, because I don't know what the budget for Wonka was, but the budget for Color Purple is only $100 million. Now, granted, that's probably
it was about 120 odd million.
It's about 50-some million more than they probably should have spent on it, because I just checked the inflation compared to the original film. But granted, this is a musical as well.
70 million more than they should have spent on it.
Maybe I'm actually going by the inflation calendar. They spent $15 million on the original Color Purple. This is actually a musical version. with inflation, 15 million now is about $42 million. So to me, I say they spent about 50 million more than they should have. Because add a little bit for it being a musical.
Here's what they say for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. It's expected to do around $40+ million over the 4-day Christmas period. 46 odd million dollars they reckon it's going to do.
But Andre's
but
probably
apparently,
right. It probably won't do so well, but yeah.
Apparently it's been killing it in China. So worldwide, it'll be doing, well, internationally, sorry, $75 to $80 million. Apparently for $110 million opening weekend worldwide. I don't know whether I believe that.
Well,
I guess the
Warner
3D screenings are saving it. Oh, sorry, Andre.
Too bad Warner doesn't get jack shit of that Chinese money. They get like 10% of it or something.
Terrible.
Yeah, because from what I heard, basically it's the 3D sales.
Yeah, not good. And then, so we've got Wonka here. Wonka's due to get 20 million plus in its 4-day sort of Christmas weekend, which is not bad. It's not been doing too bad at all. Running total domestically of $43 million, or should have anyway. It's a lot of theaters though, but it has grossed well over $100 million already worldwide. Still not great numbers, but okay.
$125 million budget.
Yeah. Migration is that Illumination Universal movie. So that's eyeing around $10 million for the 3-day, $15 million for the 4-day. I mean, it's just abysmal, really, isn't it? Like, there's nothing good out. This film I want to watch, The Iron Claw. Has anyone heard of this? This looks absolutely amazing.
I cannot say I have. That's news to me.
Have you not?
Actually, Chris just talked about it the other morning, Andre. This is the one about the wrestling family.
All right.
It looks so good. It looks so good.
This is the one Zac Efron looks like He-Man.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, the one he looks like He-Man in. Yeah.
Honestly, it looks brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
From reviews I've heard, it's good. So,
yeah. Color Purple could outperform its $8 million.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Because I actually thought this one had a little bit better chance, considering it could pull in a female audience.
Well, I don't know what it says here. So it's saying it could outperform its $8 million for the day with $10 million as pre-sales. Is that saying that it's got those pre-sales or not as pre-sales? I think it's just projected it might do better than that, isn't it? Basically, it's pretty weird wording.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. It doesn't quite say if they already have that much in pre-sales or if it's poised to do better than that.
It's a weird wording of it all. But
see,
I mean,
that's the other problem is this movie doesn't have the star power the original film had either.
No. Well, interesting segue. A movie that does have star power, directed by George Clooney, The Boys in the Boat, $2 to $3 million. $2 or $3 million. Not great.
How much did that cost? Oh, that's Amazon. Oh, they're just putting it out there for an Oscar. That's why. They don't give a shit about the box office.
Yeah, probably. 51% Rotten Tomatoes as well. But basically, the point is not great. Not great. Not good. Christmas is normally okay. There's normally some sort of growers, long term across the Christmas period. This year, just absolute garbage.
Well, and I don't know if people
themselves, because they could have had June still out, couldn't they?
They could have, but I mean, I wonder if that wasn't the best bet for them at this point, because honestly, the fact that these movies are not really something that would pull a big audience in any way outside of maybe Aquaman should have, had it not, had it been in an alternate universe. I wonder if, because I kind of noticed this year, like with, the last couple of years with the way things have been going, I don't think people are spending as much this year on Christmas in general. I don't think people are spending as much on going to the theaters much. I mean, look at the whole year as a whole. The only movies that really got anybody out to the theater were Oppenheimer and Barbie. Let's be real.
Was there anything else, or was that actually
kind of Guardians? I guess, but I'm trying to think. Was it Mario? But those are like the only big movies really this year. Of those 4 or 5 films that came out that were big, like that's not a good year for film.
Wasn't anything good though either. So I'd say that's good because that shows that the audience is more discerning, right? I'd say that's a good thing.
Yeah.
What do we think about this overall? Do you think that's
I'm not going to give them excuses on the whole COVID thing, but I will admit that people are a little less likely to spend as much money this year than they have in the last couple of years because they just don't have it.
Yeah, I'm not COVID strikes all that. No, I think it's just people. I think people are being much more discerning. I genuinely do. I think they're learning, and I think it's come a lot.
They have no other choice, do they? Because basically, if you look at it, everything is more expensive. Taxes are going up across the board. Inflation is sucking people's money away.
That's what I mean. All my bills have pretty much tripled. Sorry, Andre.
People have less discretionary spending money than before, and at the same time, movies are shitter than ever before. Because we're in cultural stagnation and Hollywood is incapable of making good movies for the most part. Obviously, that's going to be something where you cut. Like no one is going to go to the big screen just to see some shit just for the hell of it. I mean, you go when there's an event and there's something that's worth seeing.
Yeah,
and that's just it. There ain't no Top Guns. There ain't no Way Homes. There's nothing to really like. Even Wonka, I was kind of surprised at how well it's been received, and that's just because I think Chris Gore is right about that. Where people will find something to go see over the holiday usually, but I think this year a lot of families just opted to stay home.
But apparently, Wonka's pretty inoffensive. I think
it is. It's good. I like it. It's very good actually. I think that Wonka is going to be the closest thing that we have to a Christmas movie this year. It's going to be Wonka because that is the most inoffensive of the lot of them. That one is going to work, and if David Zaslav is the one behind it, good on him. He needs to continue that. Then it's going to start a winning streak. It's a movie that on paper shouldn't work, but having seen it, it does. It totally does.
Sadly, it's not going to set the box office on fire, though.
No, that it most certainly is not. But it's a very good sign for where you might be going with things. Because I had fun with that movie. I didn't expect to, but I did.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, 2024, I don't think there's anything coming out that I'm particularly excited about.
Well, there's Dune.
Not that I know of. June Part 2.
Yeah, we have to stop and think for things to be excited about because there's so little.
Yeah.
Next year is going to be a horrible year for Hollywood. Same with the year after that, because now you have the writer's strike, you have the actor's strike, then you're going to have.
I'll tell you what, actually, there's actually a few good movies coming out next year. So, Joker 2, I am looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's going to be the Warner's big bet next year, other than
there's another big bet. So. The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, that animated film that they did.
That should be all right.
I think that would be pretty decent. Gladiator 2, that should never have been fucking made. Don't really understand the point of that. Dune Part 2, looking forward to that. Furiosa, that's another Warner's. I'm actually quite looking forward to that. Beetlejuice 2. That'd be interesting. I quite like General Ortega.
Deadpool 3 come out next year?
Yeah, Deadpool 3. Yeah. The Fall Guy. That advert, the trailer for that looked okay. Craven comes out next year. Man Alive. Madam Web comes out next year as well.
That comes in a few weeks here. And that's like in January or February, isn't it?
Yeah. A Quiet Place Day 1. That's apparently like a military movie in the Quiet Place universe, so that would be quite interesting. Nosferatu comes out next year.
Well, that one I'm looking forward to. Hell yeah!
I'm very excited for that one.
Can't wait for that one. That's number one on my list right now. Actually,
what is it?
Yeah,
Nosferatu.
It's a remake.
It's a remake of the original 1928 remake. Original Nosferatu, which is the first adaptation of Dracula, which was remade in 1979 by Werner Herzog, who in some ways made it even better. And it's the director who makes this particular remake interesting.
If it was anyone else, I would not be bothered.
I would not give a fuck about a Nosferatu to remake. But with this director behind the Norseman him taking on Nosferatu, oh, hell yeah, I'm there for it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Argyle, that looked okay. That looks interesting.
Is that about the limo driver from Die Hard?
No, Argyle, it's like a... You watch the trailer. It's I don't really know what to say what it's about, to be fair. But watch the trailer. It's interesting. Ballerina apparently comes out next year, and that's the John Wick spin-off with Ana de Armas as the ballerina. That would be quite fun. Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. That's quite. I'm looking forward to that. Alien Romulus. I know not many people are, but I am looking forward to that. Until the trailer releases, and then my sort of
there is the risk
optimism
of that.
flat on the
So I choose to remain unconvinced, because then I might be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, that's
fair enough. That's fair enough. Terrifier 3 comes out next year.
That one should be fun.
That one should be fun. Again, there's not really much else out, to be fair. I'm looking at all the other stuff. It's all a bit shit.
Oh,
there's some good movies there.
I did see. This isn't one that comes out next year, but I did see an alert come through last night that I guess Cliffhanger 2 with Stallone got greenlit and is going to start filming in a couple of months for a 2025 release.
Interesting. Rebel Moon Part 2 comes out next year as well.
That just dropped today, didn't it?
No, tomorrow for me.
Yeah.
Maybe today for you, I don't know. Anyway, there you go. 2024, 2023. 2024 looks to be a better year than 2023.
Well, they have to worry about one more possible strike, and that's the IATSE strike, as Script Doctor's been pointing out. And one thing I have is kind of maybe something to possibly look forward to is, since they're on such a tight schedule now because of all the strikes before, they've got a big patch in that, third and fourth quarter there where stuff is not going to be they're not going to have any big movies, really. So what they're going to possibly do is they're going to have to start pushing for some of these smaller movies. I mean, they're just going to have to. They're going to have no choice, just so they can get them done and out by the end of the year. And this is why I think Spinal Tap is going ahead, besides it being the anniversary, because that'll be done and out before the end of the year. Some other stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe comedy makes a little comeback, because those are easy and quick to make.
And horrors, yeah.
Oh, yeah, horror is always a mainstay, but yeah.
Olaf Vanes jumps in with €2, says no Disney movies this December either. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, they fucked
up
there.
There you have it, ladies and gents. So, Andre, I know you need to dip out, but we're going to conclude the stream now anyway. So why don't you tell everyone where to find you, and then we'll
you can find me over at Midnight's Edge. Tomorrow we have Midnight's Edge in the morning, and suddenly we have a video drop of an article or something like that. So go check it out.
There you go. Nick, where can people find you, buddy?
Echo Base Network, or Santa's Echo Base Workshop, since it's Christmas. But yeah, we have our weekly live stream tonight, and then we got episode 3 of EBN Cast tomorrow at 2 o'clock Central Time.
Check it out, everyone. Tom, where can everyone find you, buddy?
Midnight's Edge After Dark. Should be live here in about 2 hours on After Dark or so, give or take. Hope to see you there.
Very nice. So, guys, that was a nice 3-hour Christmas stream. Just happens. These are getting a bit longer anyway. It just is kind of what's happening with this show. The topics, the flow, everything just is growing. The show's growing. But thank you so much for spending the time with me and us here on this Thursday. You could be anywhere, and truly thank you so much for spending it with us here. We do appreciate it. We love you all watching. Larry Quadowitz dropped in real quick in the last. Says Merry Hmas panel and chat. Thank you, buddy. We'll be back next week, Tuesday, as usual. We'll be streaming again then, so please do pick up with us then. Again, there may be some impromptu streams from me, but we'll see how it goes. Thank you, one and all. If I don't see you in the stream format before, have a fantastic Christmas. But from me and everyone else, cheers, take care, bye-bye now.
I guess.